A vibrant cerulean sky stretches endlessly above. Below, the skeletal remains of unfinished buildings litter the foreground, their purpose shrouded in mystery. A gruff construction foreman and his anxious subordinate abruptly enter the scene. The foreman curtly inquires about the whereabouts of the diver. The subordinate nervously explains that the diver was summoned away for a pressing engagement. A man adorned with a flashy watch brandishes thick wads of cash, offering a hefty sum to anyone willing to descend into the murky depths of a mysterious, unsettling liquid. Fear hangs heavy in the air as the workers remain silent, no one daring to accept the perilous task. Suddenly, a solitary hand shoots up from the crowd, breaking the tense silence. A wave of astonishment washes over the workers' faces. Who is this audacious soul? He appears more boy than man, a youth defying expectations. His attire is threadbare, his piercing gray eyes hinting at hidden depths. A slender frame belies an inner strength. The unsettling liquid, its nature still unknown, shimmers ominously. This is the abyss into which the young hero will soon descend. The water's opaque surface, thick with sediment, conceals whatever secrets lie beneath. Specialized equipment is provided to the young man, a meager defense against the unknown. But even with these tools, doubt gnaws at the foreman. Can this boy truly succeed where others fear to tread? The young man's voice, though quiet, carries a steely resolve. Money doesn't earn itself, he declares. Perhaps desperation fuels his courage, leaving him no choice but to face the daunting task. One of the workers mentions, almost casually, that the gray-eyed man perished long ago. A statement quickly dismissed as mere jest or an attempt to deceive. Suddenly, the connection to the depths is severed, sparking immediate panic and concern among those present. Demands erupt to extract the hero from the murky abyss below. The mysterious, mud-like substance erupts in a chaotic frenzy, its waves transforming into jagged, menacing shapes. Far from ordinary ripples, with urgent haste, the boy is pulled free from the unsettling liquid. The young man himself appears visibly shaken and on edge. The moment the gray-eyed youth emerges from the depths, he immediately inquires about his payment for the completed task. Without hesitation, he receives the promised sum. The boss, taken aback, expresses surprise at the young man's fervent desire to earn money. Driven by an unknown urgency, the hero introduces himself. Eugene, an 18-year-old with a determined spirit. He's described as having short, dark hair, with a trickle of blood flowing from his nose. It's revealed that Eugene's relentless pursuit of money stems from The young man reflects on his meager earnings, thinking that even this small amount would be a blessing to receive consistently. Exhaustion takes its toll as the boy's nose begins to bleed yet again, a recurring symptom of his overwork. He quickly wipes the blood away, attempting to conceal his physical distress. It's evident that he's pushing himself to the brink of collapse. His body strained from relentless labor. A shadowy presence emerges. A mysterious figure cloaked in darkness materializes, approaching the protagonist with an ominous air. The man is garbed entirely in black, his features obscured by the shadows. The enigmatic figure speaks, his voice a low murmur as he observes that the young man is jeopardizing his health for mere pennies. He poses a pointed question. Is it truly worth the risk? The gray-eyed youth responds, his voice filled with weary resignation, explaining that he wouldn't endure such hardship if he weren't driven by desperate need. He emphasizes the dire circumstances that compel him to persevere. The shrouded man offers a tantalizing proposition, a chance to acquire immense wealth. The condition? Participating in a mysterious game. The young man regards the offer with skepticism, his intuition warning him of potential danger. The proposal undeniably raises suspicion, its vagueness and potential consequences unsettling. Eugene declines, stating his lack of interest in the enigmatic game. He bids farewell to the mysterious stranger, dismissing the unsettling encounter. The scene shifts abruptly, revealing a hospital building, starkly contrasting with the previous shadowy interaction. A picturesque sunset paints the sky with vibrant hues, providing a breathtaking backdrop. Within the sterile walls of this hospital room lies our hero's ailing sister, her health a growing concern. A heartfelt conversation unfolds between the protagonist and his beloved sister. With genuine concern, she implores him to prioritize his well-being, urging him to nourish himself properly and avoid unnecessary sacrifices. Suddenly, Eugene's gaze falls upon his sister's physician standing before him. The very person he has been desperately seeking. He clutches tightly the money he intends to deliver, hoping for a glimmer of hope. Our attention is drawn to a stark contrast. The young man's appearance is disheveled and unkempt, a clear indication of his financial struggles. His meager attire reflects the harsh reality of his self-imposed deprivation. The doctor recoils, maintaining a noticeable distance, and requests the young man not to approach. The boy's unpresentable appearance likely fuels the doctor's apprehension and prejudice. With a tone of finality, the doctor declares his inability to continue treating the hero's sister. The outstanding medical bills, a mounting burden, have become an insurmountable obstacle. Somberly, the doctor advises the young man to brace himself for the worst possible outcome. Her deteriorating condition leaves little room for optimism, casting a dark shadow over their hopes. With unwavering determination, the boy vows to gather the necessary funds, clinging to a desperate hope. However, the doctor's dismissive response crushes his spirit. Pointing out the paltry sum he offers, a shadowy figure emerges beside the young man, their presence adding an air of mystery to the scene. The weight of the situation bears heavily upon our protagonist. Dejected and disheartened, he grapples with the doctor's disdainful treatment. Gray-eyed Eugene sits vigil at his sister's bedside, his gaze fixed on her fragile form. Tubes and wires connect her to a life support machine, a stark reminder of her precarious condition. The girl lies motionless, her eyes closed in a deep slumber. She appears to be in a medically induced coma, her breathing shallow and rhythmic. A shadow of despair washes over Eugene's face as the weight of his helplessness crashes down upon him. A fierce determination burns within the young man. He will do whatever it takes to save his sister's life. Suddenly, his phone rings, shattering the tense silence. It's his father. The urgency in his father's voice indicates that something dire has happened. His father's plea for money to settle a substantial debt sends a chill down Eugene's spine. With a callous tone, his father declares that the hospital bills are insurmountable, implying that further treatment is futile. He proposes a chilling solution, a normal future for Eugene, allowing him to return to school without the burden of his sister's illness. In exchange, he suggests a proper burial for Susie, a thinly veiled suggestion to end her life support. Eugene recoils in horror, accusing his father of insanity. He vehemently refuses to let his father harm Susie, his voice thick with protective fury. He abruptly ends the call, muttering a venomous curse under his breath, his resolve to protect his sister hardening into steel. He's more determined than ever to achieve his goal. Eugene releases a shaky breath, attempting to compose himself. The conversation with his father has left him rattled and deeply disturbed. The stress of the situation is almost unbearable. Our hero's gaze shifts abruptly to the side, his attention caught by something in the periphery. It seems someone is approaching, their purpose to deliver a message or perhaps something more. A shadowy figure materializes before the young man, shrouded in an aura of mystery. Ambient light dances around the figure, seemingly repelled by its presence. The interplay of light and shadow casts an ominous silhouette on the ground. The enigmatic man offers Eugene a second greeting, his tone surprisingly amiable. He exudes an air of warmth and welcome. Despite his obscured features, we observe our protagonist cautiously approaching the stranger. Drawn by an unspoken curiosity, his pace quickens with each step, a mix of apprehension and anticipation driving him forward. The brunette, his voice tinged with suspicion, demands to know if the man has been following him. He challenges the stranger's concealed identity, questioning the motive behind the hidden face, unease evident in his tone. He urges the mysterious figure to depart immediately. The man responds calmly, assuring Eugene that there's been a misunderstanding. He places a hand over his heart, a gesture intended to convey sincerity. The shadowy individual reveals he sought out Eugene for a playful proposition, a game. Producing an object from seemingly thin air, he presents it to the young man. The stranger explains the rules. If Eugene can find him after he hides, a reward awaits. A tempting prize is offered, a staggering 100,000 to sweeten the deal. A cryptic smile spreads across the stranger's face, a blend of mystery and menace. Eugene, his steely gray eyes unwavering, declares that he won't be so easily deceived. Eugene thinks the stranger is completely out of his mind. However, The emblem on the man's jacket triggers a sense of familiarity in Eugene. He feels like he's encountered it somewhere before. Suddenly, the stranger snaps the fingers of his right hand. This seemingly insignificant gesture appears to hold a deeper meaning. The enigmatic figure announces that a payment of 20,000 has been deposited into the young man's bank account. The gray-eyed man's eyes light up with excitement. For him, every chance to make money is a golden opportunity. The brown-haired young man then glances downwards, as if verifying something of utmost importance. He checks his phone, where a new notification has appeared. Indeed, he's received the exact sum the stranger mentioned. The gray-eyed man immediately peppers the stranger with inquiries. The stranger simply replies that the payment is non-refundable. Eugene is visibly hesitant about this proposition, but his desperate need for money overrides his doubts. He figures he has nothing to lose. The moment Eugene agrees, the shadowy figure leaps from the hospital window. The brown-haired man is stunned, unable to process the incredible feat he just witnessed. Frozen in place, he watches in disbelief as the other man executes a gravity-defying leap. Only after the man lands gracefully on the ground below, does the young man finally snap out of his stupor. He stares after him, awestruck by the sheer speed and agility displayed. Despite the bizarre nature of the encounter, the young man steels himself, ready to rise to the challenge. Driven by the promise of a substantial reward, he sets his sights on the enigmatic figure. Money is a powerful motivator. With a determined glint in his gray eyes, he races down the stairs, his feet a blur of motion. He's not taking this offer lightly, he's fully committed. The scene shifts back to the familiar setting of the hospital, but this time, the sky is ablaze with the warm hues of the approaching sunset. Against the backdrop of a rosy pink sky, a timer relentlessly counts down, the digits rapidly dwindling. Time is of the essence, the hero is running out of precious seconds. Our protagonist bursts onto the bustling streets below. As he navigates the labyrinthine alleys, he spots the figure he's pursuing. The brown-haired man realizes that simply running in a straight line won't be enough to catch the shadowy figure who moves with uncanny speed. His frequent visits to his sister at the hospital have given the gray-eyed young man an intimate knowledge of the area's shortcuts. He uses this to his advantage as the timer ticks down with increasing urgency. Each second more precious than the last. Our protagonist is closing in. The gap between him and his objective shrinking with each stride. In a burst of agility, he seizes an iron beam, using it to propel himself forward with increased momentum. With a powerful leap, the hero vaults over the iron beam, landing gracefully before a formidable iron fence. The possibility of overtaking the elusive figure hangs in the balance. Time is slipping away. Should our hero fail to intercept the shadowy figure, the consequences will be dire, potentially costing him a substantial fortune. Even innocent bystanders are growing increasingly agitated, as the two men sprint recklessly through the crowded area, shoving and jostling passers-by. Gray-eyed exclaims in frustration. Convinced he's almost achieved his goal, has despair finally consumed him? Will he abandon his pursuit? But no. With renewed determination, he pushes himself harder, accelerating his pace, relentlessly chasing the stranger up a seemingly endless flight of stairs. Mere meters separate our hero from the enigmatic figure now. A peculiar smile plays upon the stranger's lips, an unsettling expression. Yet, the stranger refuses to be outpaced. Matching the hero's speed stride for stride, both men are running at their absolute limit, pushing themselves to the brink. The clock ticks past the 3-minute mark, leaving our protagonist with precious little time remaining. A glance into Eugene's eyes reveals the profound exhaustion that weighs upon him. But money always talks. Every time the gray-eyed man gets close to someone, they vanish into thin air, leaving him empty-handed. Poof, he's gone. Another potential payday disappears. Drenched in sweat and fueled by determination, the relentless pursuer continues his chase. But fatigue sets in. He realizes his body is nearing its limit, threatening to collapse under the strain. Eugene glances at the timer ticking away on his phone screen. Time is running out. He's got to act quickly. Suddenly, right before the gray-eyed man's eyes, something unexpected unfolds. The young man is taken completely aback by the surprising turn of events. Thinking on his feet, the boy decides to take a risky shortcut. Scrambling up onto the rooftops, he hopes this daring maneuver will give him the advantage he needs to finally catch his elusive prey. pushing himself to the limit. He sprints across the rooftops with all his might. The edge of the roof looms ahead, bringing his desperate run to an abrupt halt. Perched precariously on the edge, the brown-haired man pauses for a crucial moment. He needs to execute the jump flawlessly, ensuring a safe landing and avoiding injury. Once again, the gray-eyed man is astonished by the sight that greets him. This persistent pursuer is relentless. Exhaustion is etched on his face, a testament to the grueling chase. Lost in the pursuit, he hadn't realized just how high he had climbed, but now, gazing down from the rooftop, a wave of fear washes over him. From this dizzying height, the boy spots the man he's been chasing far below. A sudden realization hits him. He needs to get there fast. The urgency palpable. Beads of sweat pour down the young man's face, a testament to the desperate race against time. The thin man's mind races. One solution. A single leap of faith. Eugene steels his nerves, takes a deep breath, and launches himself off the edge of the roof. Survival is paramount. One wrong move could be fatal. The clock ticks down relentlessly. 6 precious seconds remain. No, even less. Time is slipping away. Can the protagonist bridge the gap, intercepting the shadowy figure before it's too late? A desperate chase unfolds. He lands deftly on a lower rooftop, the impact jarring his body. A stark realization dawns upon the young man. There's no other way. No turning back. Fear grips gray-eyed, his eyes slamming shut as terror washes over him. A primal scream rips through the air, a raw expression of pure dread, wrestling with the overwhelming tension. He fights for control. Resolve hardens in his heart. He makes the ultimate decision and leaps into the void. He plunges downwards, hurtling towards the dark figure now tantalizingly close below. The countdown continues. A mere 4 seconds stand between success and failure. The air crackles with anticipation, each passing moment intensifying the suspense. The stranger's head snaps up, his gaze drawn upwards. Surprise registers on his face. He clearly hadn't anticipated this daring aerial assault. A slow, enigmatic smile spreads across the dark figure's lips once more, hinting at hidden motives. Believing he's finally cornered an ordinary individual. Suddenly, the timer malfunctions, displaying erratic behavior and doubling its digits. The numbers rapidly fluctuate and glitch, creating a visual anomaly. A vibrant red message flashes across the screen, proclaiming the hero victorious. Abruptly, Eugene's face darkens, assuming an ominous black hue. His eyes erupt in an eerie white glow, raising questions about his true nature and hinting at a hidden power. At last, he makes contact with the shadowy figure, his hand reaching its elusive target, successfully apprehending the figure, securing the prize money that awaits him. Beneath the man's concealing black hood, metallic components emit a soft, blue luminescence. Exhaustion weighs heavily upon the gray-eyed man, yet a palpable sense of relief washes over his features. Having finally triumphed, the brown-haired man yanks the creature backward. He triumphantly declares his capture of the dark figure, his voice echoing with satisfaction. A breathtaking vista unfolds, captivating the eye with its sheer beauty. The setting sun paints the sky in a vibrant tapestry of warm hues. The serene scene evokes a sense of tranquility, calming even the deepest recesses of the soul. Eugene struggles to regain his breath after the strenuous chase, while the captured creature stands before him, its presence undeniable. A notification pings on the protagonist's phone, signaling an incoming message. Another 80,000 points were swiftly added to the young man's impressive total. The enigmatic figure remained motionless, standing silently before the victorious player. Then, with a subtle gesture, the figure extended congratulations to the triumphant competitor. The mysterious entity proposed further games of chance, tempting the young man with the allure of greater rewards. The enticement was clear. The potential winnings would continue to escalate with each successive victory. Eugene, driven by desperation, eagerly accepted the offer. He was willing to risk everything to secure the funds needed for his sister's mounting hospital expenses. The shadowy figure's true nature was revealed, a metallic automaton. The creature, crafted entirely of metal, possessed piercing blue eyes that glowed with an unsettling intensity. The android extended a metallic hand towards the young man. It attempted to secure a pair of peculiar restraints onto the gray-eyed man's wrists. These were no ordinary handcuffs. They were specialized metal bracelets equipped with a strange indicator. The bracelets, adorned with an ominous display, hinted at a sinister purpose. A shadow of pain crossed the hero's face as his eyes lost their usual vibrancy. A sudden, intense headache overwhelmed him, causing him to cry out in discomfort. Something was clearly amiss, a disturbing premonition hanging heavy in the air. Eugene succumbed to the encroaching darkness. His eyes fluttering closed as the robot observed him intently. The bracelets seemed to exert a strange influence over him, their effect both potent and mysterious. Overcome by the inexplicable force, the gray-eyed man collapsed to the ground. The android advanced slowly towards the unconscious body, its metallic form casting an ominous shadow. After what seems like an eternity, the brown-haired man slowly regains consciousness, just as disoriented as before. He's now clad in unfamiliar garments, a stark contrast to his previous attire. Beside him lies a chilling sight, a skeletal figure, devoid of life. Eerily, the skeleton is dressed in identical clothing and sports the same distinctive hairstyle as the awakened man. A wave of terror washes over Eugene as his eyes fall upon a gruesome discovery, a severed finger. Positioned directly in front of his face, the severed finger, a macabre reminder of unknown horrors, lies mere inches from his face, sending shivers down his spine. He finds himself trapped within a strange, dimly lit chamber, the oppressive darkness amplifying his fear. The room exudes an aura of abandonment and decay. Suddenly, a command echoes through the silence, ordering the young man to complete a daunting mission. The gaunt figure is given a seemingly impossible task: survive for the next 5 minutes. A growing sense of dread consumes him as he realizes he's not alone in this desolate prison. Two enigmatic figures, their forms obscured by the shadows, huddled together in the corner. Their silhouettes vaguely resemble young women, seated in close proximity, their stillness unsettling. With a synchronized movement that sends chills down his spine, both figures slowly turn to face him. The dim light reveals their true nature, monstrous creatures with grotesque features, their appearance striking terror into his heart. Their horrifying visages are fully illuminated, revealing nightmarish countenances that would haunt anyone's darkest dreams. Before him, a 5-minute timer begins its ominous countdown, accompanied by a strange, perpetually grinning figure that adds to the surreal horror. The terrifying game of survival is set to commence in a mere 5 seconds. The tension thick enough to cut with a knife, summoning every ounce of courage. The brown-haired man struggles to his feet, bracing himself for the unknown. A throbbing headache racks his brain, making it nearly impossible to think clearly. Desperate for answers, he fights through the pain, attempting to recall the events that led him to this nightmarish predicament. Inside the room, a wave of shock washes over the young man, his eyes wide with disbelief. The protagonist is utterly stunned, paralyzed by the horrifying sight that unfolds before him. One of the monstrous girls, her features contorted in a grotesque hunger, lunges forward and begins to devour the others. Those who believed they had survived the initial test are now facing a far more terrifying ordeal. Their supposed sanctuary has become a gruesome feeding ground. Beads of sweat erupt on the brow of the brown-haired man, his face paling visibly. Panic begins to set in as the gravity of his situation becomes terrifyingly clear. He's trapped in a nightmare he never could have imagined. Amidst the chaos and carnage, the scene shifts once again to the enigmatic figure, its unsettling smile even more pronounced. The eerie figure, adorned with a crimson hat and other disturbing ornaments, continues to watch, a silent orchestrator of the unfolding horror. A disembodied voice echoes through the chamber, a chilling declaration that the macabre game has commenced. Two girls, their eyes burning with a predatory bloodlust, fix their gaze upon the protagonist. He is their next target. The monstrous creatures, their eyes glowing with a malevolent red intensity, charge forward with terrifying speed, intent on slaughtering anyone who dares to cross their path. No one is safe. Eugene's blood runs cold as he comprehends the chilling truth. These girls are not friendly. They are relentless killers. The unsettling image of the doll, its red hat perched atop its head, hanging ominously from his pants drawstring, reinforces the imminent danger. The bravado of the brown-haired man evaporates, replaced by a paralyzing fear. He is no match for these creatures. Despair grips him as he accepts the grim reality. He is going to die in this horrific place. The gray-eyed young man makes a desperate attempt to escape the clutches of the two monstrous girls. Their relentless pursuit leaves him with little time to react, their terrifying speed closing the distance between them with alarming rapidity. In a desperate bid for survival, the young man decides to quickly assess his surroundings. Only after surveying the entire room will he attempt to formulate a plan. A desperate gamble in this deadly game of survival. A chilling recollection surfaces in the boy's mind, a cryptic voice echoing a warning. A 5-minute countdown had been initiated. A race against time for survival. He must endure, by any means necessary. Against the impending threat, survival was paramount. With startling speed, a crimson-eyed creature emerges from the shadows, launching a surprise attack on Eugene from behind. Their coordinated assault reveals a premeditated strategy. A deadly trap laid for their unsuspecting prey, oblivious to the lurking danger. The brunette remains unaware of a second assailant closing in. Doubt creeps in, as he begins to question if she has vanished without a trace. The atmosphere crackles with palpable tension, a palpable sense of dread filling the air. Then, without warning, a second red-eyed monstrosity materializes before the protagonist, blocking his path. With a swift, decisive motion, the girl brandishes her weapon. Multiple piercings adorn her ear, accentuating a sinister smile that speaks volumes of her malevolent intent. The second girl unleashes a brutal blow to his back, striking with ferocious force. Blood erupts in a gruesome spray, splattering in all directions with shocking abundance. But the hero anticipates the next attack. His reflexes honed for survival. With masterful agility, he evades the monster's powerful grasp, narrowly avoiding a fatal blow. The realization dawns on the brown-haired man. These crimson-eyed creatures hunt as a pack. Their coordination a testament to their deadly prowess. Their razor-sharp claws, capable of inflicting grievous wounds, further amplify the danger they pose. Even the gray-eyed man himself is at a loss for how to overcome the formidable challenge presented by these two girls. This relentless pressure is utterly exhausting. Eugene is drenched in sweat, a testament to the intense strain. Glancing at the timer, the lean young man realizes with a jolt that not even half of the allotted 5 minutes has elapsed. Observing Eugene's attempt to evade the crimson-eyed creatures, they devise a new hunting strategy. With a powerful fling, one of the girls launches the second creature, hurling it towards the protagonist at breakneck speed. The brown-haired man is clearly caught off guard by this unexpected attack. He whirls around, his eyes wide with astonishment at the sight of the oncoming creature. With ferocious strength, the red-eyed monster sinks its claws deep into his back, sending a spray of blood through the air. The creature's jaws gape open, revealing rows of razor-sharp teeth. A terrifying spectacle. They seem to ache to sink into their next victim, the gray-eyed hero, but he refuses to passively await his demise. With a surge of adrenaline, the young man hurls the monster away. Despite the perilous situation, the brown-haired man maintains a facade of bravery. Ominously, the indicators on his bracelet glow a menacing red. But surrendering is not an option. Perseverance is key. With the clock ticking down, Eugene has a mere 120 seconds to endure the onslaught. Two relentless crimson-eyed pursuers, fueled by a sinister intent, close in on the frail figure. Their sole objective, to ensure his demise. To prevent his survival at all costs, one of the monstrous entities lunges forward, seizing his finger in a vice-like grip. A chilling smile, twisted with manic glee, spreads across her face as she prepares to inflict unimaginable pain. With brutal force, the creature begins to contort his finger, applying pressure that threatens to shatter bone. Her savage intent is clear: to rip his finger from its socket, leaving him maimed and broken. The boy's gray eyes widen in terror. An agonizing scream tears from his throat, a testament to the torment he endures. Tears well up as the sheer agony threatens to overwhelm him, pushing him to the brink of collapse. His fingers, grotesquely twisted and mangled, present a gruesome sight. Bent at unnatural angles, they bear witness to the relentless brutality inflicted upon him. Battered and barely clinging to life, his fingers appear on the verge of giving way, desperate to escape the clutches of these monstrous beings. The protagonist continues his struggle for survival, clinging to the will to live. He refuses to succumb to their relentless pursuit. The bracelet's indicator flashes ominously, His blood pressure skyrockets to a dangerous 200 beats per minute. A clear sign of his body reaching its limit. The strain becomes unbearable, leaving him gasping for air, struggling to breathe. The gray-eyed man knows that time is running out, that he has mere minutes remaining. The end of the test, and potentially his life, draws near, and the glimmer of hope in his eyes fades away, replaced by a hollow emptiness. A wave of poignant memories washes over the emaciated young man as he thinks of his beloved sister. Sue. For her, he would willingly sacrifice everything, face any danger. Suddenly, a holographic interface materializes before Eugene, displaying a startling notification. He has been granted access to a mysterious and powerful system. Overwhelmed and bewildered, the brown-haired man struggles to comprehend the unfolding events. The immense stress and trauma he has endured cloud his mind, making it nearly impossible to decipher the cryptic words displayed on the screen. Just as his confusion peaks, the notification reappears, demanding his attention. The initial directive: successfully activate a skill known as reverse. In a flash of blinding light, the gray-eyed man experiences a miraculous surge of energy. His health fully restored. Miraculously, his injured companions are also healed, their wounds vanishing without a trace. Once more, the notification appears, this time with an elaborate and elegant design. Its intricate details hint at the system's immense power. With focused concentration, the young man carefully examines the message. A demonstration of the reverse skill unfolds before him, showcasing its extraordinary capabilities. It grants the user the incredible ability to anticipate their opponent's every move, effectively seeing into the future. A moment of hesitation grips the protagonist as he grapples with the implications of utilizing such a formidable power. He questions whether he can even survive the strain of wielding this extraordinary skill. Yet, deep down, he knows there is no other path to salvation. He must embrace the unknown. Activating a new skill, the brown-haired man's eyes flash a brilliant gold. A system alert abruptly appears, announcing that the game will conclude in 30 seconds. The monstrous female figures reappear, but now their forms are enveloped in a negative, inverted color scheme, as if time itself has been frozen by Eugene. He too is bathed in this negative hue. Everything appears as a photographic negative. What could this mean? Perhaps it's the manifestation of yet another extraordinary ability. Within this inverted reality, the creatures with crimson eyes are savagely tearing apart the one with gray eyes, violently ripping at his limbs from all directions. Shaden realizes with a jolt that he's witnessing a premonition of what will transpire in a mere 3 seconds. This newly revealed skill, granting a glimpse into the immediate future, is truly astonishing. He frantically begins to formulate a plan of action based on this terrifying foresight. Another system notification flashes before him, declaring that the game has only 20 seconds remaining. Time is rapidly running out. Shaden continues to strategize, desperately trying to incorporate his recent visions into a viable plan. In the negative world, the brown-haired man nimbly evades the twins' relentless attacks, desperately avoiding their razor-sharp claws. The golden glow fades from his eyes, replaced once more by their natural gray. The young man finds himself lost in thought again, desperately searching for a solution. With impressive agility, he evades the simultaneous attacks of both monsters. This display of skill clearly enrages the red-eyed creatures. As their surprise is evident, they hadn't anticipated such deftness. Eugene pivots, confronting his adversaries head-on, bracing himself for their next onslaught. Determined to survive, the red-eyed assailant launches another strike, but the young man remains unscathed, the attack missing its mark. Once again, the boy executes a skillful dodge, evading the imminent danger. A timely notification appears, reminding all spectators that a mere 10 seconds remain in this high-stakes game. Each tick of the clock feels like an eternity. Time seems to stretch and distort, the tension palpable as the final seconds slowly melt away. The protagonist desperately hopes to maintain his impressive momentum, his survival hanging in the balance. He yearns to persevere in this manner until the final whistle blows. But the question remains: will he succeed? Will he endure? The gray-eyed competitor catches sight of something directly in his line of vision. An unexpected sight that fills him with astonishment. A renewed spark ignites within his eyes. A glimmer of hope rekindled. He focuses on the rapidly dwindling timer, the seconds ticking away with increasing speed. Shaden suddenly understands. He must utilize his unique ability, the power that grants him glimpses into the future. Just then, another crucial notification materializes, appearing as if on cue. It reveals a critical detail. His foresight skill is currently in reverse cooldown mode. The timer ticks down relentlessly, displaying a mere 3 seconds remaining. Our protagonist finds himself in a dire predicament. With precious little time to escape, beads of sweat trickle down Grey-Eyed's face, a testament to the immense pressure he's under. The stress is almost palpable. The clock continues its countdown, leaving just a hair over 2 seconds. For the young man, 3 seconds have never felt so agonizingly long. Stretching out into an eternity, one of the monstrous creatures pounces, pinning the boy beneath its weight. Its razor-sharp claws reach for his eyes, threatening to gouge them out in a gruesome attack. Less than a second remains. A fleeting moment that could determine life or death. The red-eyed creature lunges, poised to inflict grievous harm upon the helpless youth. Suddenly, a massive metal door materializes out of thin air, interrupting the imminent attack. This new portal likely leads to another chamber, offering a potential escape. With an air of composure, the main character strides through the gateway, safe from immediate danger. The boy finds himself grappling with a whirlwind of thoughts and emotions. He's tormented by unanswered questions about his past and uncertain future. He desperately hopes to be free from the terrifying children that haunted him. Shaden is awarded 300 points, a well-deserved reward for his triumph in the previous challenge. His victory secured, he earned the right to proceed. Our hero continues his journey, pressing onward with renewed determination. He arrives at a fence, beyond which lies a mysterious chamber, its purpose unknown. The boy is taken aback by the unexpected sight that greets him. He stares in astonishment at what lies before him. Is this really such a big deal? Gray-eyed wonders, his voice laced with skepticism. His gaze sweeps across the area, landing on several individuals clad in identical attire to his own. A flicker of recognition sparks in his eyes. Could it be? Are there actually other players here? He murmurs, the question hanging heavy in the air. The camera focuses on the protagonist's wrist, showcasing a familiar bracelet, a key to understanding this enigmatic situation. Once again, the narrative returns to the mysterious archive, hinting at the answers hidden within its depths. What secrets does it hold? A group of players stands together, their anticipation palpable. They seem to be waiting for something significant. Perhaps the commencement of the next game, the next challenge in this deadly competition. A voice cuts through the silence, announcing the arrival of 20 new participants. The tension in the air thickens. Startled by the news, a second man abruptly turns, his eyes scanning the newcomers. The first man continues, his words dripping with disdain. He points a finger accusingly at Eugene, questioning his very survival. How did this seemingly weak individual manage to make it this far? Gray-eyed observes the group, his mind racing. Who are these people, and why do they radiate such an unsettling aura of aggression? Suddenly, a hand clamps down on the brown-haired man's shoulder, jolting him from his thoughts. The hand is unusually large, its grip firm and intimidating. He spins around, coming face to face with a peculiar individual adorned with strange markings. The imposing figure leans in, his voice a low growl. Are you new here? The question strikes a nerve, causing the young man to tense up visibly. Memories of past horrors flash through his mind, the trials he endured to reach this point. We learn the name of the young man clutching the documents, Evan. What role will he play in this unfolding drama? He arrived at this location a full 2 weeks ahead of the individual with brown hair. The brown-haired man himself appears rather arrogant and disrespectful. This brown-haired individual remains completely bewildered and unable to grasp the current situation. He inquires about the reason for everyone's presence in this place. Evan proposes relocating their conversation to a more private setting. It seems they are under constant observation, surrounded by eavesdroppers. Their every move is being monitored by surveillance cameras. The man with gray eyes inquires whether the younger man successfully completed the 5-minute assessment. The black-eyed man reveals the grim truth. This location serves as a venue for deadly games. The very nature of these games sounds utterly barbaric and inhumane. The green-haired man mentions a powerful corporation that acquires valuable assets. This corporation operates on a global scale, extending its reach across the entire planet. Its branches are practically ubiquitous, present in almost every corner of the world. Moments later, the brown-haired man recalls a crucial detail. The stranger's sweatshirt bore the distinct logo of this very corporation on its back. Evan directs attention to the gray-eyed man's bracelet, urging him to examine it closely with great care. The green-haired man taps the message icon, indicating an incoming communication. A subtle tap on the slender man's bracelet suddenly conjures a holographic window into existence. The young man's eyes widen in disbelief, his face etched with shock at the sight before him. Could the reality be this grim? Could things truly be this dire? A spectral image materializes, hovering between the two men, bearing an uncanny resemblance to the company's enigmatic insignia. A voice emanates from the apparition, addressing the protagonist directly. It announces his entry into a deadly arena, a battleground for survival. He will be pitted against other players in a desperate fight for survival. The spectral entity, a doll-like figure, meticulously outlines the rules of this brutal game to Eugene. It elucidates the sinister purpose behind these deadly competitions. The most terrifying revelation of all is the price of refusal. Death awaits those who decline to participate. The penalty for non-compliance is execution. Yet the protagonist remains remarkably composed, his face an impassive mask. He absorbs the information with an unnerving calmness, betraying no outward emotion. Only then does a memory surface in the gray-eyed man's mind. Recalling Evan's earlier mention of the company's vast financial resources, he poses a question to the older man, inquiring whether he genuinely believes immense profits will be generated from these barbaric games. The green-haired man responds confidently. Reaching the ultimate stage in this game is an incredibly daunting task, especially considering their current position at the very bottom of the ladder. To amass a substantial fortune, constant gameplay and accumulating points to ascend through the levels are essential. However, lacking sufficient strength, survival becomes impossible. As the difficulty escalates with each ascending level, the higher you climb, the more challenging the game becomes. Both men find themselves drawn to the game machines. The man with the black eyes remarks on the sheer difficulty of earning points. These points, he explains, are incredibly hard to come by. In this world, points hold the same value as money itself, and money is the only means to acquire food and ensure survival. He reveals that even food is a scarce commodity in this place. The situation seems utterly absurd. The crucial thing is to avoid spending all of one's points, because complete depletion of points results in a dire consequence: execution. The protagonist grasps the gravity of the situation. The conditions for survival are appalling. He realizes the weight of his hospitalized sister's fate bears heavily upon him. Ji-hun poses a desperate question. What if he refuses to participate? Is there any possibility of returning to freedom? Driven to desperation by the appalling living conditions, one of the participants launched a rebellious act. In a frantic attempt to escape his confinement, the young man desperately clawed at the bracelet on his wrist, trying to tear it off. As if sensing the rebellion, the bracelet itself began to emit an ominous red glow, pulsating with intensity. A stern voice echoed through the room, commanding the players to remain calm and cease their resistance. Ignoring the warning, the young man persisted. After a second, final admonition, the bracelet detonated in a blinding flash. The brunette, consumed by the explosive force of the device, met the same fate as the bracelet. His desperate desire for freedom had tragically led to his demise. He paid the ultimate price for trying to remove the device. Witnessing the brutal consequence, the gray-eyed man's composure crumbled. The horrific answer to his unspoken question sent a chill down his spine. Despite the graphic display, Evan, with unsettling detachment, dismissed the incident as a mere coincidence, a random occurrence, as Evan nonchalantly explained away the gruesome scene they had just witnessed. The main character's gaze darkened even further, his expression growing more inscrutable. His eyes, now devoid of light, turned an unnerving black. Was this apathy, or something more profound? Was he truly unmoved, or was something else at play? Observing the unsettling transformation, the green-haired man offered an explanation. He cautioned that survival in this terrifying place required a steely resolve and the mental fortitude to withstand unimaginable horrors. One had to be prepared for anything. Eugene, bewildered, questioned why the elder had even bothered to address him, considering he was just a scrawny newcomer. Seemingly insignificant, Evan revealed that he had witnessed Eugene's exceptional skills firsthand and had been profoundly impressed by the boy's raw talent. Intrigued and recognizing potential, the green-haired man expressed his desire to meet Eugene personally. With a chillingly detached tone, the black-eyed protagonist remarked that the brown-haired man had been extraordinarily fortunate, implying a darker fate awaited the others. Ensuring the small creature couldn't reach him, the man with the brown hair, still catching his breath, recalled the enigmatic system that had miraculously saved him from certain death. But a nagging question lingered in his mind. Was he truly the only one who could see these peculiar pop-up windows? The gray-eyed man, his curiosity piqued, inquired about this unusual system ability. However, Evan remained oblivious, completely baffled by the question. Abruptly, the other man's demeanor shifted, becoming intensely serious. His gaze narrowed slightly, piercing into Evan's eyes with an unnerving intensity. The thin man was astonished that Evan seemed utterly unaware of the game-like interface that was clearly visible to him. Could he really be the sole witness to these floating windows? The answer was a resounding yes. The system was exclusively accessible to the main character. A realization that solidified in his mind. He resolved to keep this extraordinary secret to himself. Guarding it closely, a booming voice echoed from a loudspeaker, announcing that a mere half-hour remained before the public area would be closed off. The stern warning followed. Anyone who failed to evacuate the zone in time would face immediate execution. The green-haired man chimed in, explaining that the public area operated from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The remaining hours were to be spent in the confines of the dormitory. Black-eyed gestures for the hero to enter his cell. The young man readily agrees, stepping inside without hesitation. As they walk down the corridor lined with iron doors, the main character takes in his surroundings, his eyes scanning the grim environment. He notices the curious gazes of other players fixed upon him. A thin man remarks that adjusting to life in this confined space is essential, especially since escape seems impossible. Evan observes that the thin man is surprisingly composed, far calmer than he himself feels. His comment is met with a look of surprise. The brown-haired man pauses, observing his own unexpected calmness. His companion admits that acceptance took him considerably longer. They arrive at an iron door marked with the inscription, B24. A grate is also visible on the door. The green-haired man mentions that he resides in cell B10. He expresses his pleasure at the fortunate coincidence of their close proximity. A system notification alerts all players that it's time to return to their designated dormitories. Black-eyed assures his friend that he'll show him more of the facility tomorrow, should they have the opportunity to meet again. The main character contemplates this, expressing his gratitude. Eugene thanked his newfound friend for the comprehensive explanation of their current predicament. With a hesitant push, he opened the door. The brown-haired man was met with the sight of a group of men standing before him, their faces etched with curiosity. Their gazes bore into him, a mixture of appraisal and suspicion in their eyes. The men erupted in a chorus of shouts, directing him towards the designated area for newcomers, a space unfortunately situated near the lavatories. They wasted no time in establishing the hierarchy, making it clear who held authority in this cramped domain. Eventually, exhaustion claimed them all, and the room fell silent as the men succumbed to sleep. The small room, meant for perhaps two, was now crammed with 4 bodies, a testament to their desperate circumstances. As sleep finally embraced him, Eugene's thoughts drifted to his beloved sister, Susie. He pictured her lying vulnerable and alone in the sterile confines of the hospital. A wave of worry washed over him, a constant ache in his heart for the girl he cherished. His fingers fidgeted nervously as he rummaged through the contents of his bracelet. He desperately searched for the beginner's guide, hoping to find some semblance of order in this chaotic new world. He needed to understand the rules, to navigate this unfamiliar terrain and survive. A sudden glow emanated from the bracelet as a pop-up window materialized before his eyes. With hushed breaths, the brown-haired man carefully perused the information displayed. He took pains to remain silent, careful not to rouse his sleeping companions. Fate intervened once more as the doll reappeared before the hero. Her name, he learned, was Star. In a gentle voice, she began to elucidate the intricacies of the beginner's guide, offering him a glimmer of hope in this daunting new reality. Each player will be charged a daily fee of 100 points for their continued presence within the arena. This fee is automatically deducted from their account for simply remaining in the combat zone. Should a player's account balance fall below the required 100 points for the daily deduction, the consequences are dire. The bracelet they wear will detonate, resulting in their elimination. To progress to the next level of the competition, a hero must achieve a score of 10.000 points. Upon reaching this milestone, they earn the right to challenge the formidable boss and ascend to a higher rank. The man with the brown hair contemplates the meager 300 points he earned today. Realizing that this paltry sum will be entirely consumed by the essential costs of food and lodging, leaving nothing for advancement. To keep the challenges fresh and unpredictable, the arena introduces a variety of monstrous creatures into each game, ensuring dynamic and engaging interactions with the participating players. The game's difficulty is categorized into 3 distinct tiers: beginner, intermediate, and advanced, each level determined by factors such as the time of day the game is played, the specific location where the monsters appear, the unique rules governing each encounter, and the total number of participants also contribute to the overall difficulty. A standard difficulty round offers a reward of 300 points upon successful completion. As the difficulty level escalates, the potential point rewards increase proportionally. Mandatory participation requires at least 1 game per day. Failure to comply with this requirement results in immediate disqualification from the competition or a hefty penalty of 500 points. Eugene contemplates his grim situation, questioning whether he will be perpetually forced to confront such terrifying monsters in order to survive. The protagonist faces a daunting challenge. Survival in this brutal arena hinges on his ability to overcome these monstrous adversaries. To become more formidable, he needs to triumph in every single round. Suddenly, a notification window appears, alerting him to unread messages. The brown-haired man nervously glances around his surroundings, visibly startled and apprehensive by the unexpected pop-up. Another window materializes, this one detailing a training regimen. The window elaborates on the specifics of the training program, outlining its intricacies. The training sessions adhere to a strict timer, demanding precise execution. Furthermore, successful completion of the training yields valuable points. This presents a golden opportunity for the gray-eyed individual to hone his physical prowess and simultaneously accumulate points for his advancement. Abruptly, the young man finds himself alone, isolated in a stark white room. Bewildered, he wonders how he arrived in this unfamiliar place. A pop-up window appears, explaining that the training and practical exercises are being conducted within a simulated environment. 2 monstrous creatures materialize before Eugene once more. A dire warning follows. Failure in this encounter will result in a deduction of 100 points. A cold sweat washes over gray eyes as he realizes he must face the same red-eyed monsters from before. The scene shifts to the following day. In a communal area where the players have already congregated, the green-haired man exclaims his fruitless search for the skinny guy. Having looked everywhere imaginable, his frustration is evident as another game unfolds in the background, showcasing the ongoing competition. With a furrowed brow, the man peers intently into the dimly lit depths of the corridor. The black-eyed man contemplates whether the hero has already embarked on the perilous game. A wave of worry washes over the man as he continues to ponder his friend's whereabouts. A chilling thought crosses his mind. Could his friend have perished so swiftly? Just then, a remarkably familiar silhouette emerges from the corridor's shadowy embrace. Slowly but surely, the figure advances into the light, revealing our protagonist. He strides forward, emanating a powerful aura that commands attention. Despite the formidable presence, the young man appears disheveled and weary. His clothes are tattered, bearing witness to a recent struggle. A palpable sense of exhaustion surrounds him. Overjoyed, the green-haired man enthusiastically waves to his comrade, relief evident in his expression. Meanwhile, the brown-haired man stands dumbfounded, staring in bewildered silence. The young man removes his headwear, a gesture signifying the end of an arduous journey. He explains that he, in fact, entered the game earlier than anticipated. A flashback reveals Eugene's rigorous training session from the previous day. The training involved a demanding simulation designed to push his limits. overwhelmed by the unexpected intensity and the sudden nature of the simulated attack. The main character was unable to evade the onslaught. The simulation remained incomplete, leaving him with a sense of unfinished business. As punishment, Shaitan was docked 100 points. The following scene provides a detailed breakdown of how the point deduction was applied. The boy's account balance now displays a remaining total of only 200 points. The thin young man glances back at the notification window. He inquires about the fundamental training program. A wave of relief washes over him as he realizes that even without completing the prescribed training regimen, he still possesses the potential for significant growth and strength. A cascade of new notification windows begins to appear on the screen. Our hero meticulously selects a variety of training regimens to hone his abilities. Eugene dedicates himself to rigorous training, understanding that survival in this unforgiving world demands unwavering strength. Gray Eyes, with unwavering focus, practices each movement with painstaking repetition, honing his agility and reflexes to ensure his survival. But after a period of intense exertion, the brown-haired man transitions to mastering new techniques with a newfound calm and precision. His agility noticeably improves with each passing moment in the simulation. Emerging from the virtual training ground, after what felt like an extended period of intense training, he's astonished to discover that mere seconds have elapsed in the real world. The young man consults his wrist device, a puzzled expression etched on his face, baffled by the discrepancy in time flow between the simulation and reality. Confident in his progress, the boy believes his skills have sharpened significantly after the morning session. Thanks to the rigorous training within the simulation, the green-haired man gestures amicably with an outstretched hand, beckoning his companion to join him. The brown-haired man requests a brief delay. They notice the black-eyed man standing pensively behind them, lost in deep thought. Gray Eyes inquires whether participants are limited to a single game per day, and if a second attempt is permissible. Evan's face registers a look of pure astonishment at the question posed by the other player. His surprise is understandable. As with each progressing round, the challenges escalate in complexity and danger. The stranger marvels at the newcomer's resilience. Bewildered that he's still alive, the black-eyed individual attempts to deter the protagonist from participating in a second game. But this persistent desire for challenge is precisely what fuels our hero's ambition. A surge of excitement courses through the young man at the prospect of heightened difficulty. Gray Eyes imparts some crucial information to Evan, explaining that a single daily game is insufficient for accumulating the necessary points. The fellow player criticizes the hero's audacity, deeming his words and actions excessively arrogant. He admonishes Evan for his presumptuous behavior. The scene shifts to Eugene traversing metallic corridors. Amidst a throng of other participants, he comes to a halt before an imposing array of metal doors. Craning his neck upwards, the gray-eyed man's expression betrays a flicker of confusion. Lost in contemplation, a pop-up window abruptly materializes, forewarning the boy of the impending game's increased difficulty. Eugene grapples with the decision of whether to embark on another game. Carefully weighing the elevated risks involved, the notification system prompts the brown-haired man to enter the designated room. As the next trial is about to commence, suddenly, a young man, grievously wounded, stumbles out from one of the chambers. He collapses instantly, hitting the floor with a thud. A man missing an arm and 2 fingers, his body battered and bruised, struggles to regain his composure amidst the agonizing pain. He gasps, barely able to utter words, expressing his intense suffering. The other players are taken aback, witnessing the extent of the man's injuries. Clearly a testament to the ordeal he just endured. They ponder the unimaginable hardship he must have faced. Empowered by the previous day's rigorous training, our protagonist feels a surge of confidence and preparedness for the challenges that lie ahead. Despite the harrowing sight, Shaitan insists on proceeding with a second game. He downplays the potential difficulty, believing it couldn't be significantly harder. Gray Eyes, driven by ambition, knows he must strive to accumulate as many points as possible. His goal? To ascend to the next level. The scene shifts, revealing our hero finally entering the ominous, darkened room. Hope hangs heavy in the air as everyone anticipates his triumph. A peculiar sight greets him, a depression in the floor filled with strange, unsettling water. It bubbles ominously, releasing wisps of steam that rise and dissipate into the air. Eugene cautiously approaches, his curiosity piqued, seeking to understand its nature and purpose. The brown-haired man is utterly astonished by the sight that unfolds before him. Could there really be something so utterly astonishing here? He wondered aloud. The once familiar playground had transformed into a nightmarish landscape beyond comprehension. Small, shimmering pools of an eerie, unidentified liquid were scattered across the ground. Gray eyes, observing the scene, suspected this was no ordinary water. Its appearance was far too peculiar, its properties clearly defying simple explanation. Suddenly, a new objective materialized on the game screen. The hero's mission: survive for 5 grueling minutes and eliminate at least one monstrous foe. A wave of icy terror washed over the brown-haired man, beads of cold sweat forming on his brow. The daunting reality of having to slay a monster set in. A warning window flashed ominously, alerting the hero that the shimmering pools contained highly corrosive sulfuric acid. Contact with the acid would be catastrophic, demanding immediate evasion as soon as the game commenced. A horde of grotesque monsters surged towards him, their speed amplified to a terrifying degree, moving with a terrifying swiftness. The creatures were several times faster than before. Their already horrifying appearance was now amplified by their newfound agility, making them even more formidable. Without hesitation, one of the monsters lunged at him, initiating a brutal assault. With a burst of adrenaline-fueled reflexes, he narrowly avoided the attack, refusing to squander another precious second. The brown-haired man reacted swiftly. He bolted in the opposite direction, pushing his body to its limits. Gray eyes precariously navigated the treacherous terrain, acutely aware that a single misstep into the acidic pools would spell certain doom. The ominous, pulsating energy field now worries Eugene more than the immediate threat of the monstrous creatures. The strange field's power is a greater concern than the attacking monsters themselves. The creature's relentless assault is less daunting than the unknown energy. Menacing gargoyles form an impenetrable barrier, trapping the hero between their ranks. He's surrounded both front and back, with escape routes blocked. The lanky hero recalls the rigorous training from the previous day. There might be a slim chance. Empowered by his newfound strength, he plans a daring leap across the chasm. He intends to clear the expanse in a single bound. Mustering all his might, the hero launches himself towards the distant island. A desperate attempt to survive. It's a life or death jump. A precious window of opportunity remains. Time is on his side. For now, survival hinges on enduring the onslaught for a mere 4 minutes. He needs to hold out just a little longer. Evading the monster's attacks is possible, but exhausting. Dodging their blows will be a constant struggle. Eliminating these creatures will require immense effort and unwavering determination. Killing them will be a true test of skill. A crucial question plagues Eugene's mind. He's facing a seemingly impossible task. How can he possibly vanquish these red-eyed beasts with his bare hands? He's unarmed and facing ferocious opponents. Completely weaponless, he desperately searches for a solution. Then, a memory surfaces. The corrosive acid pools. A glimmer of hope ignites as he realizes the acid could be his salvation. He might be able to use the environment to his advantage. Suddenly, a creature lunges at the boy with terrifying speed, interrupting his thoughts. A surprise attack throws him off guard. Eugene's survival plan hinges on a crucial system skill. He needs to execute his plan flawlessly. His objective: utilize the skill to hurl one of the monsters into the deadly acid. He's going for a risky maneuver. Doubt gnaws at the brown-haired hero, questioning his ability to succeed. Uncertainty clouds his mind. Time is of the essence. Activating the skill swiftly is paramount. He needs to act quickly or face dire consequences. He continues to evade the relentless attacks, dodging with impressive agility. However, the specific conditions required to activate his special ability remain unmet, leaving him vulnerable. Gray-eyed watches with mounting anxiety, his concern evident. He must quickly elevate his heart rate to 200 beats per minute to unlock the power he desperately needs. The skinny young man struggles to anticipate the trajectory of Red Eye's ferocious onslaught. Yet, miraculously, he remains unharmed, narrowly avoiding each blow. A sudden realization strikes him. Sustaining physical damage triggers a surge in his heart rate. He discovers that injury is the key to reaching the critical threshold of 200 beats per minute. His mind flashes back to the harrowing experience of yesterday's first game. The memory of enduring relentless torment and suffering floods his senses. One of the monstrous creatures fixates its gaze upon him, raising a menacing hand. Its razor-sharp claws extend towards Eugene, poised to strike. In a desperate gamble, he deliberately offers his hand to the monster's attack. The creature mercilessly pierces his hand straight through, inflicting excruciating pain. The brown-haired young man is taken aback by the sheer intensity of the agony. But his sacrifice yields results. His heart rate surges to 180 beats per minute. The monster unleashes a predatory grin, reveling in its victim's pain. It retracts its claws from the hero's wounded hand. The young man's pulse quickens further, reaching 190 beats per minute. Gray-eyed glances down at his bracelet. Monitoring the progress, he anxiously watches his pulse, willing it to climb higher. Every beat a step closer to activation. The monstrous figures charging towards him seem to be mere phantoms, his focus solely on the rising numbers. His gaze remains fixed on the bracelet, a silent countdown as his heart races towards the critical threshold of 195 beats per minute. Unflinching, the hero stands amidst the oncoming horde, his determination unwavering as he waits for the surge of power. Time stretches agonizingly, each second an eternity as the tension builds. Suddenly, a notification window appears, breaking the suspense. The alert confirms the crucial moment. His pulse has reached 200 beats per minute. Unlocking the ability within, a golden glow ignites in his eyes, signaling the transformation. With the skill activated just in the nick of time, he narrowly avoids a devastating blow. The brown-haired man's enhanced perception allows him to anticipate the monster's attacks. Their movements laid bare before him. But this precognitive advantage is fleeting, a mere 3-second window of opportunity. He must capitalize on this brief moment of clarity and eliminate a threat quickly. The skill's short duration demands swift and decisive action. Beads of sweat form on his brow, a testament to the immense pressure he faces. Victory must be secured swiftly, before the power fades and leaves him vulnerable. By observing the gargoyles' brutal efficiency, Eugene deduces their ingrained reliance on head strikes to eliminate their prey. Their instinct to target the head becomes their predictable weakness. The moment the brown-haired man evades their onslaught, a critical opening presents itself. The perfect opportunity to launch a counterattack. With calculated force, Gray Eyes drags a grotesque monster towards the precipice of the bridge, intent on dispatching the creature into the abyss below with ruthless efficiency. Eugene, observing with keen eyes, meticulously calculates the perfect moment to strike, seeking an opening for a decisive attack. Finally, the stars align, and the opportunity presents itself, unfolding precisely as Eugene envisioned. With a surge of adrenaline, the brown-haired man unleashes a brutal kick, channeling all his strength into the blow aimed squarely at the monster's back. He executes the maneuver with balletic grace, his movements fluid and precise, a testament to his honed skills. Having successfully launched the red-eyed monstrosity into the chasm, our hero, in a heart-stopping display of agility, clings desperately to the edge of the bridge, narrowly averting a fatal plunge. The monster plummets into a pool of corrosive acid below, its flesh rapidly dissolving in the caustic liquid. Agonizing screams of pure torment echo from the depths as the creature succumbs to a gruesome demise. A notification window materializes, confirming the completion of one of the man's crucial objectives, the successful elimination of a formidable foe. Gasping for air, the brown-haired warrior struggles to regain his composure, his grip on the bridge's edge the only thing separating him from the deadly abyss. But a chilling question lingers. Where is the second monster? A grim realization dawns upon Gray Eyes. Failure to overcome this challenge would condemn him to a horrific fate. Submerged in the agonizing embrace of sulfuric acid, despite his wounds and exhaustion, the young man summons his remaining strength and hauls himself back onto the bridge, only to be confronted by the second monster, standing menacingly before him, ready to strike. With the clock ticking down, the young boy had a mere 2.5 minutes remaining to withstand the agonizing ordeal. Just 150 seconds stood between him and the completion of this grueling trial. But the relentless bleeding from his wound showed no signs of stopping, each drop a stark reminder of his dwindling strength. Could this frail, Skinny youth possibly endure even a moment longer against such overwhelming odds? Survival seemed a distant hope. A wave of dizziness washed over the boy. His head swimming in a sea of pain and exhaustion. His vision blurred, darkness encroaching at the edges. Was this truly the end of his brief but arduous journey? Was this how his story would conclude, just as despair threatened to consume him? A window materialized before his fading eyes. A beacon of hope in the encroaching darkness. The window displayed a vital message. Skill upgrade points were available, offering a chance for salvation. The monstrous adversary remained strangely passive, making no move to capitalize on the boy's weakened state. It stood motionless, an ominous presence looming across from the vulnerable youth. A prompt appeared, offering guidance in this critical moment. The brown-haired boy was informed that he possessed the ability to elevate his skill level, providing a potential path to victory. However, such an upgrade came at a steep price, a staggering 300 points. The previous day, 100 points had been deducted for training, leaving him with a diminished reserve. Further deductions had been made for mere sustenance. The cost of surviving in this unforgiving world. Having already participated in one grueling game, survival had taken its toll. His current balance stood at a precarious 400 points, barely enough to afford the upgrade. The conditions for upgrading seemed favorable. A glimmer of hope amidst the despair. But just as he contemplated his options, the monstrous creature finally lunged, launching a ferocious attack against the gray-eyed boy. With the beast upon him, the protagonist found himself trapped. With no apparent avenue of escape, a desperate decision loomed, but instead chooses to strategically allocate his hard-earned points towards skill enhancement. A system notification window materializes, triumphantly declaring that the chosen skill has been successfully upgraded, restored to its former glory at level 2. As a result of his impressive display of agility, the protagonist gains a substantial bonus effect for every successful dodge he executed. This newfound ability grants him the power of foresight, enabling him to anticipate his opponent's movements with remarkable accuracy. The duration of this precognitive advantage has also been significantly extended, from a mere 3 seconds to a full 5 seconds. However, the crimson-eyed adversary remains undeterred, refusing to yield without a fierce struggle. With relentless determination, she lunges towards the hero, intent on tearing him limb from limb. Shaden's enhanced perception allows him to visualize spectral projections of the monster's impending attacks, revealing her intended trajectory. With deft movements and incredible precision, he evades each of her ferocious onslaughts. The protagonist finds himself in a race against time, with a mere 2 minutes remaining to withstand the relentless assault. Less than half the initial time remains, leaving viewers on the edge of their seats, desperately hoping for his triumph. As a reward for his remarkable resilience, the system bestows upon the gray-eyed youth a substantial 2-minute speed boost, significantly augmenting his agility. The monstrous creature, however, exhibits no decline in its own dexterity. It continues its relentless pursuit, attempting to ensnare Eugene with its razor-sharp claws. The young man is astounded by his newfound velocity. Yet, with newfound mastery, he skillfully parries each of the monster's attacks. With unwavering determination, the brunette sprints towards the monstrous being, her speed matching its ferocity. She then abruptly changes course, fleeing to the opposite side of the chamber. The crimson-eyed creature is too slow to ensnare him. A surge of fury washes over the gargoyle, its frustration mounting. Its quarry, the elusive protagonist, remains just beyond its grasp. With blinding speed, the young man effortlessly evades each monstrous attack. Just a slight increase in velocity, and the slender youth will surely leave the gargoyle in its dust. Were it not for the lingering wound, Eugene's movements would be even more breathtaking. Yet, paradoxically, it is this very injury that fuels his current strength. Time is rapidly slipping away for the brown-haired warrior. His burst of acceleration is nearing its end. A mere 72 seconds remain. The system has undeniably amplified the gray-eyed youth's power. The points invested in skill upgrades have proven their worth, but the monstrous threat is closing in. Once again, the creature lunges, attempting to overpower the hero. A head-on assault with only 40 seconds remaining on the clock. Each second stretches into an eternity. When will this agonizing ordeal finally conclude? The protagonist continues his desperate dance of evasion, while the relentless monster presses its furious attack. With the clock ticking, the brown-haired man realizes he only has 40 seconds of accelerated speed remaining. The rapidly dwindling time fuels a surge of anxiety within him, making his next moves critical. Meanwhile, the gray-eyed combatant displays a shockingly nonchalant attitude, almost taunting the monstrous creatures. He confidently dismisses their fearsome appearance, claiming they aren't as intimidating as they seem. Suddenly, the test timer reaches 0, signaling the end of the grueling challenge. The tension hangs heavy in the air. Can our protagonist survive this brutal encounter against overwhelming odds? The second monster, mimicking its predecessor, dives into the corrosive black acid. Above, the brown-haired man observes the creature's descent, his expression unreadable. Against all expectations, Eugene emerges victorious, securing a hard-fought triumph. A notification flashes, confirming his impressive victory and awarding him well-deserved points. For his remarkable feat, the young man receives a substantial reward of 500 points. With the conclusion of the intense game, the protagonist receives instructions to proceed to the common area. The gray-eyed victor, having gathered various supplies, diligently tends to his wounds. In the common room, the boy carefully bandages his injured hand. He reflects on the surprising ease with which the monster inflicted the painful wound. The intensity of the pain surpasses his initial expectations. His elimination of the second monster earns him an unexpected bonus. Additional points are awarded for this impressive feat. The unexpected reward brings a wave of joy and satisfaction to the young man. After finally dressing his wound, the brunette was surprised to find the medical supplies reasonably priced. A mere 20 points could procure an entire first aid kit, and a plentiful 29 packages remained in stock. A sudden rumble emanated from the protagonist's stomach, a clear indication that the young man hadn't consumed any sustenance. The brunette realized with a start that he, himself, hadn't eaten a single morsel since the previous day. This unsettling realization prompted the gray-eyed youth to scan his surroundings for Evan. His search proved fruitless. His companion had promised to wait, but his current whereabouts remained a mystery. Abandoning his search, he resolved to head towards the food vending machines and procure something to satisfy his hunger. En route to the machines, he noticed a small cluster of individuals, or rather, a single person who stood out from the group. The young man's mind flashed back to Eugene. He could scarcely believe his eyes. How had the young man survived? A faint smile touched the player's lips, as he surmised that the hero must now possess a considerable number of points. Following the conclusion of the second game, the man with brown hair approached the vending machine, hoping to find some sustenance. He began tapping frustratedly at the screen, navigating the limited options. The only remaining food item displayed was cookies, which, to his dismay, had been completely sold out since midday. Only a few bottles of water were left. Eugene realized the harsh reality of survival in this unforgiving environment, understanding that he would have to participate in dangerous games frequently to sustain himself. The gray-eyed young man already formulated a strategy for the following day. Arrive early in the morning to secure a much-needed snack before supplies dwindled. Suddenly, a group of unfamiliar individuals approached the young man, offering boisterous greetings. Intrigued, the boy turned to face them, locking eyes with a particular man who fixed him with a cunning and unsettling stare. This same man, with a sly grin, offered to purchase cookies for the brown-haired youth later. The entire group erupted in laughter, deriding the skinny young man's apparent age and vulnerability. Their cruel mockery hinted at the grim likelihood of his imminent demise. With a serious expression, the gray-eyed man questioned whether the antagonizer was truly all right in the head. Kudryavy labeled the main character as hot-headed and impulsive, joining his companions in their heartless laughter. The unsettling man stammered once more about the cookies, attempting to entice the young man with promises of attractive prices he was about to set. 400 points for a single pack? That's highway robbery. You can get a pack from the vending machine for only 80. Eugene retorts. That price is outrageous. Absolutely exorbitant. I have zero interest in such a preposterous offer. He flatly refused. As the group approached, an involuntary tension gripped the hero. He braced himself. The air crackled with a distinctly hostile energy. A palpable sense of menace filled the air. The curly-haired man declared, "You won't be leaving this place unless you buy some cookies," he added with a sneer. "And you, Brown-haired boy would be wise to cooperate, to make friends with me. The man referenced the boy's previous victory. That second game you played, you clearly earned enough points. He asserted confidently. Do you really want another fight so soon? He taunted. Must we resort to violence again? Right after a match? That's utterly savage. Completely barbaric. The curly-haired man's eyes ignited with a crimson glow, burning like hot coals. The demonic nature within him became undeniably apparent. He was the devil incarnate. If you refuse to buy these cookies, the man threatened ominously, I'll break your leg. Curly then accused Eugene. You've grown far too arrogant for your own good. You need to be taught a lesson in humility. Learn your place and show respect to your superiors. That's the law of the arena. He snarled. The rules of this place demand it. The group is under strict orders. Eliminating the main character is absolutely forbidden. As they deliberate their next move, immense pressure mounts on the designated enforcer. The weight of expectations is palpable. However, there's a crucial loophole. Breaking bones isn't explicitly prohibited. Consequently, they believe they can inflict significant damage without facing repercussions. A brutal beating is permissible. One of the men, fueled by anger, is eager to unleash his fury upon the brown-haired man, retaliating for his defiant rejection of their offer. The refusal has ignited a burning desire for vengeance. Kudryavy reiterates his warning, emphasizing that this is his final ultimatum. His patience has worn dangerously thin. He can no longer tolerate defiance. His tolerance has reached its absolute limit. The air crackles with tension. The gray-eyed protagonist carefully assesses the situation. Contemplating his strategy, he scrutinizes his adversaries, his gaze sweeping from head to toe. Taking in every detail, he meticulously analyzes their strengths and weaknesses. One of the antagonists reaches for his bracelet. A subtle but menacing gesture. He intends to deduct points from the brown-haired man. A symbolic act of dominance and humiliation, intending to strip him of his glasses. However, the brown-haired man is far more astute than he appears. He possesses hidden depths. The two boys nearly make contact with their bracelets, on the verge of exchanging points. The tension is almost unbearable. Curly, with a condescending tone, refers to Eugene as a good boy. A thinly veiled insult. Did Eugene genuinely surrender his glasses? Did he succumb to the pressure? But their hopes are dashed as the hero unleashes a powerful blow. His fist connecting squarely with the man's face. The punch lands with a resounding thud. A testament to the hero's unexpected strength. It's evident that Curly himself is now. The unfolding situation takes an unforeseen turn, defying all expectations. However, our protagonist is not one to back down easily. He possesses a resilient spirit. A crimson stream erupts from the man's mouth as he expectorates blood. The force of the blow leaves onlookers wondering about its sheer intensity. Was it truly that devastating? The slender figure reiterates his unwavering stance, adamantly refusing to relinquish his hard-earned points to anyone. Casting a downward glance at the curly-haired individual, the brown-haired man remains resolute, firmly standing his ground. He will not yield. He is determined to remain unyielding. His convictions unshakable, refusing to allow anyone to shatter his spirit or his beliefs. A surge of anger courses through Curly. His fury ignited. The gray-eyed man's defiant response to his provocation has enraged him. In a fit of rage, the man commands two of his underlings to eliminate the protagonist. Without hesitation, the henchmen launch a swift and brutal assault upon the young man. The ongoing battle becomes a subject of intense discussion among the other players. Their voices a mixture of awe and apprehension. Amidst the chaos, a green-haired individual can be seen observing from the periphery. He pivots, his attention drawn towards the unfolding conflict. A dismissive expression paints his face as he surveys the scene. Seemingly unimpressed by the events transpiring before him, the man lunges forward, attempting to strike Eugene. However, Eugene is prepared to defend himself. His reflexes heightened by the system's favor. He stands ready to counter the attack. Despite being outnumbered and facing a relentless onslaught, the young boy remains defiant, his determination unwavering. A glimmer of hope remains. Victory is still within reach. The protagonist's heart races at a frantic pace, 124 beats per second. Adrenaline surging through his veins. But without warning, a henchman of the curly-haired man launches a surprise attack on the gray-eyed man, striking from behind with unexpected ferocity. revealing a hidden strength. The brown-haired man intervenes, bravely shielding the gray-eyed man from the brutal assault. Yet, the attacker's cunning prevails as he manages to seize the hero's hand in a vice-like grip. Will he inflict a crippling injury? Or does something even more sinister await? The tension hangs heavy in the air. The assailant mercilessly applies pressure to Eugene's bandaged wound, taunting him with the question, "Does it hurt?" as agony contorts Eugene's face. Distracted by the searing pain, the young man fails to notice another figure stealthily approaching from behind. It's the curly-haired ringleader himself. His eyes filled with malicious intent. With a savage blow, he unleashes his full force against the gray-eyed man's back, clearly enraged by the unfolding events. The skinny gray-eyed man is sent sprawling backward from the impact. Fresh blood oozes from his wound, staining his clothes crimson. The atmosphere crackles with escalating tension, a palpable sense of dread filling the air. The gang leader once again derides the brown-haired man for his perceived arrogance. Vowing to teach him a harsh lesson, to ensure his humiliation, the curly-haired leader commands his gang to record the boy's every move, preserving their suffering for his twisted amusement, with the sole intention of breaking his leg. Moments later, the gang's most formidable member advanced menacingly towards the young man, cruelly inquiring which leg he preferred to have broken. But the boy was utterly helpless, trapped and vulnerable. His movements were completely restricted, his special ability rendered useless. Despair washed over the brown-haired man as his eyes dimmed, a chilling realization dawning upon him. He was still too weak, lacking the strength to overcome his adversaries. Yet, even in the face of such overwhelming odds, the young man's courage remained unwavering. He refused to surrender. His determination burned bright. The attacker swung his leg brutally, aiming to shatter Eugene's bones. With a surge of adrenaline, Eugene struggled to rise from the ground. As if by miracle, his skill level surged, suddenly granting him access to its power. He unleashed his newfound ability. The brown-haired man's eyes flashed gold once more, his vision regaining the ability to perceive his opponent's movements with heightened clarity. Furthermore, the boy experienced a sudden reversal of the debilitating effect, a countdown appearing, signaling the remaining duration of this newfound advantage. Before his adversary could even react, the protagonist swiftly knocked him off his feet. With lightning-fast reflexes, Eugene launches another attack, his movements a blur as he swings at his opponent. Driven by a fierce determination, he unleashes a barrage of blows, each strike imbued with his full strength. Showing no mercy, he overwhelms his adversaries with relentless aggression. The wiry attacker slams the man's head against the wall with brutal force, the impact echoing through the room, unleashing his full potential. The skinny fighter himself is taken aback by his own newfound power. Bewilderment fills the air as the thug struggles to comprehend the young man's sudden and dramatic increase in speed. In a matter of moments, the curly-haired assailant charges towards our protagonist, attempting to regain control of the chaotic situation. Events unfold in a manner completely contrary to his expectations, leaving the curly-haired thug visibly frustrated. Irritation flares within him as his carefully laid plans crumble before his eyes. Yet, the gray-eyed young man has no time for hesitation, the urgency of the situation demanding immediate action. He must strike swiftly and decisively, seizing the opportune moment before it slips away. The skinny fighter moves with such astonishing agility that the gang leader's attacks fall short. Unable to connect, channeling all his power into his left leg, he prepares to deliver a devastating blow. With a powerful kick, the young man sends his opponent flying. The curly-haired thug is propelled a considerable distance by the sheer force of the impact. Eugene stands victorious, gazing down at his fallen adversary. The gang leader coughs up blood, a clear indication of the severity of his injuries. The situation has taken a dire turn for the worse. Against all odds, the hero has single-handedly incapacitated all three attackers. The brown-haired victor continues to observe the defeated thug, his expression unreadable. A palpable sense of superiority radiates from him. This time, a chilling laughter escapes the protagonist's lips. The memory of the intended broken leg hangs heavy in the air. Kudryavi erupts in a desperate, frantic shout, boastfully proclaiming the influence of powerful figures backing him. Eugene remains deaf to his pleas. Utterly unmoved, he calmly states that the man's continued threats are futile and will not sway him. Finally, the curly-haired man crumbles, begging for his life, pledging to surrender the cookies in exchange for mercy. However, a deceitful glint in his eyes betrays his words. He's clearly lying. His gaze remains ablaze with unrestrained fury. Tension hangs thick in the air. What will happen next? But the gray-eyed man intervenes, preventing further escalation. Placing his foot menacingly close to the man's face, the slender figure declares that the curly-haired man isn't worth violating the sacred rules of the arena. The brown-haired man confiscates the cookies, declaring them compensation for the wasted time and effort. Evan remains steadfastly loyal to Eugene, but hesitates to intervene directly. Sensing the imminent danger, the other players are awestruck by this audacious display of resolve, and the protagonist's increasingly reckless behavior. Is he truly oblivious to the potential repercussions of his actions? Curly's rage intensifies with each passing moment. A thought crosses his mind. He remembers the hero vividly. Before us lies room B24, the dwelling place of the brown-haired man. Sunlight streams through the windows, illuminating the room. Two discarded cookie packages lay crumpled on the floor. It appears their owner has already partaken in a satisfying midday meal. We find our hero indulging in the remaining cookies, discussing the vengeance Curly is meticulously plotting. Moments later, the brown-haired man declares he harbors no remorse for his prior deeds. The young man remains utterly indifferent to this revelation. A system notification alerts him to a shift in the leaderboard rankings. The updated standings can be accessed via his bracelet. A holographic leaderboard materializes before the boy's eyes. The displayed scores reveal that none of the players have amassed a significant number of points. Eugene currently occupies the 276th position out of 324 competitors. The gray-eyed youth is curious about the top scorer's point total. He seeks to understand the benchmark he must strive to surpass. Scouring the leaderboard, the young man's eyes scan the names. Ascending the ranks, he's stunned to discover that these individuals possess a staggering 5.000 points or more. The coveted top position currently belongs to a formidable competitor named Chester, who boasts an astounding, almost unbelievable, number of points. Suddenly, something on the screen catches the hero's eye. A detail so shocking that he recoils in utter disbelief. Third place is held by none other than the curly-haired young man, Harry, the very person he recently encountered. Harry commands an impressive score of over 6.000 points. A wave of astonishment washes over the hero as he realizes he just fought the third-ranked competitor. He grapples with the implications of this revelation. He questions the reality of the situation, wondering, how is this even possible? But Harry's appearance in the photo seems subtly different, raising further questions. Has something significant changed about him over time? The hero contemplates the possibilities. Seeking answers, he decides the best course of action is to inquire directly. Determined, the boy sets off to find Ivana and gather information. He approaches his friend's door and gives a firm knock. A voice from within instructs him to wait a moment. The two acquaintances begin to discuss a recent event. The green-haired individual inquires about the situation that unfolded not long ago. The black-eyed individual pauses briefly before responding. Amidst casual chatter, a sense of unease settles in as someone begins to scan their surroundings, their eyes darting nervously. A grave warning hangs heavy in the air as a man declares that the young man faces imminent danger. A shocking revelation unfolds. The formidable number 3 is not Harry as everyone believed, but rather his brother, the enigmatic Satan. A question arises, laced with apprehension. Just how powerful is Harry's brother? This mysterious number 3? Has a confrontation already been decreed? Is a battle inevitable? Evan's response chills them to the bone. Satan's strength isn't the most terrifying aspect, but the true horror lies in the sinister power he wields. In a strategic move to mitigate casualties, the top 30 players have been divided into 3 distinct factions. This tactical maneuver aims to lessen the deadly consequences of the impending games. The green-haired man asserts that the brothers' thirst for vengeance against the protagonist will remain unquenched, their relentless pursuit continuing until retribution is achieved. Black-eyed sprints towards the game arena, his determination etched on his face, urging Eugene to prioritize his own safety above all else. He implores Eugene to reach out without hesitation should any unforeseen circumstances arise. Meanwhile, Gray-eyed's mind races, consumed by the ambition of ascending to the coveted number 1 position. Hope for his triumph hangs in the balance as 3 agonizing days elapse. The scene shifts to a rustic room, reminiscent of a barn or storage area. Its rough-hewn interior filled with anticipation. Tools of unknown purpose lie scattered within this humble space, hinting at the trials to come. A young man emerges from the shadows, his face obscured by darkness, adding an aura of mystery to the unfolding events. With a flourish, a jacket is thrown over the shoulders, exuding an air of confidence. The individual's face remains hidden, shrouded in mystery. However, a group of other players can be seen gathered behind him, their presence adding to the intrigue. Whispers erupt among the players, hushed tones filling the air. The whispers carry the news of the newcomer's rapid accumulation of points, a feat that sparks both admiration and envy. This revelation subtly hints at the newcomer's identity as the central figure of the unfolding narrative. A warning is issued. One player cautions another to avoid interacting with the brown-haired man, lest they invite trouble. The reason for this caution becomes clear. Any interaction with the brown-haired man could lead to undesirable consequences. The gray-eyed individual contemplates the situation, puzzled by the lack of any provocation from the brothers. Their uncharacteristic peacefulness over the past 2 days strikes him as peculiar and unsettling. Driven by a relentless pursuit of points, the protagonist engages in 2 games daily, pushing himself to the limit. Eugene's ranking has surged dramatically, a testament to his skill and determination. He now occupies the impressive position of 190th place, a significant leap forward. Meanwhile, Shaden diligently hones his skills in a virtual training room, preparing for future battles. This rigorous training proves invaluable, contributing to his subsequent victories. The gray-eyed man finds himself questioning his surroundings, seeking clues to his location. The absence of sunlight raises questions, hinting at an artificial environment. The artificiality is further emphasized by the simulated cycle of day and night. Beyond the gaming halls and common area, the true nature of this place remains a mystery. The arena provides a fitness center and sauna for public use. Shaden confesses that he's lost all track of time, his existence now solely driven by the pursuit of points. Eugene finds himself in a peculiar chamber, or perhaps its threshold, with what appears to be snow gently falling around him. Looming behind him is a massive door, displaying a holographic projection of the familiar symbol that typically accompanies system notifications. The man extends his hand, presenting his bracelet for the system to scan and verify his inventory, granting him access to proceed. The system grants the hero entry, and he's instantly enveloped by numerous glowing purple chains. As he ventures deeper down the corridor, a warning alert blares, indicating that the young man should have accumulated more than 2,000 points. This game requires players to participate in teams, though the difficulty level will correspondingly increase. The notification system announces that Eugene is about to commence the game at the normal difficulty setting. The hero is forced to make a hasty, randomized team selection. Points are awarded only to those participating with a pre-registered partner. The young man sprints with all his might, racing down the seemingly endless, ornately decorated corridors, finally arriving at the designated room. The brown-haired man struggles to regain his breath after the strenuous run. As he recovers, the gray-eyed man notices a girl who, like himself, stands nervously at the entrance, awaiting the commencement of the game. The boy is taken aback by her presence. He wonders, with a mixture of surprise and intrigue, if girls truly participate in this arena. The girl turns, meeting his gaze. He's captivated by her striking beauty, raven hair framing a pair of mesmerizing blue eyes. The scene shifts to the archive itself, specifically to the entrance testing area equipped with scanning doors. Harry's boisterous voice echoes through the hall as he lectures his brother. He paces impatiently while delivering his animated reprimand. Curly attempts to dissuade his relative, expressing his clear desire to be left alone. However, the newcomer's persistence proves incredibly irritating. Fueled by resentment, Harry plots revenge against the protagonist. John calmly returns the barbell to its designated spot, seemingly oblivious to the brewing conflict. As the workout concludes, the camera focuses on his back, revealing a canvas of scars interwoven with a striking dragon tattoo. The etched dragon seems to writhe in agony, hinting at a past filled with torment. The elder discerns the ominous implications of his brother's actions, recognizing the path he's heading down. However, he remains confident that the newcomer, John, wouldn't dare to challenge him or plunder his resources. A sudden shift occurs as John's eyes blaze with crimson fury, igniting a burning desire for vengeance for his brother's suffering. The scene transitions back to the protagonist and the enigmatic stranger, captivated by her striking beauty. The brunette inquires if the mysterious woman is a fellow teammate. She readily introduces herself, putting a name to her captivating presence. The introductions are swift and effortless. Her name is Charlie, and she's eager to commence the game without delay. The gray-eyed protagonist confesses his astonishment at encountering a female competitor in the arena, admitting that her presence has taken him completely by surprise. The dark-haired woman explains, revealing that men and women inhabit separate domains within this world. Their paths only converge during team-based competitions. Charlie expresses surprise at the protagonist's apparent lack of experience, especially considering he has already reached the level of team-based gameplay. Intrigued, the brunette accepts the lady's unexpected invitation to engage in a game. The offer leaves her visibly taken aback, a flicker of surprise in her eyes. Meanwhile, the blue-eyed girl remains fixated on the bracelet, her gaze unwavering. Lost in thought, she seems to be contemplating something of great significance. Charlie, ever assertive, firmly instructs Eugene to remain behind and not interfere. As they cross the threshold and enter the room, a palpable tension fills the air. An eerie altar dominates the space, adorned with two flickering candles casting dancing shadows. Several bowls brimming with a crimson liquid add to the unsettling atmosphere. With cautious steps, our two heroes venture deeper into the room, their senses heightened. A chilling sense of dread permeates the space, its very walls seeming to exude a sinister aura. Suddenly, both players freeze, their eyes widening in horror at the sight before them. A grotesque figure stands ominously in the center of the room, its presence sending shivers down their spines. Eerie rays emanate from the figure, connecting it to a collection of menacing metal dolls. The shadowy form exudes an unsettling strangeness, its true nature shrouded in mystery. Evidently, this is a new and terrifying monster, unlike anything our hero has encountered before. With a dramatic flourish, the monster casts off its concealing robe, revealing a horrifying skeletal frame beneath. Ghastly hands protrude from its eye sockets, manipulating the dolls with an unnerving precision. Surprisingly, the blue-eyed girl appears remarkably unfazed by this gruesome spectacle. Her face remains remarkably impassive, betraying no hint of strong emotion. A monstrous entity stands guard over a sacred altar, the same altar witnessed earlier. This might be the creature's vulnerability. Gray Eyes observes that the monster's posture is peculiar, almost unnatural, as if it's beckoning them towards an unknown purpose. Extending an eerie invitation, a new objective materializes on the game board, a task the players must fulfill. Seize the puppeteer's artifacts before the 20-minute time limit expires. The team faces a critical choice: select the single correct doll from a pair. A wrong decision will result in dire consequences. A heavy penalty. Charlie proposes a strategic approach. First, devise a plan to infiltrate the puppeteer's domain, closing the distance, and then decipher the mystery of the correct puppet. Identifying the true artifact. The countdown concludes, and the game commences. The challenge officially begins. Hopes rest on the protagonist's victory, his triumph against the odds. The timer's expiration triggers immediate action. The dolls launch themselves towards the players with astonishing swiftness. The girl suggests a diversionary tactic, creating a distraction to mitigate potential harm, minimizing the risk of serious injury. Exploiting a moment of distraction, the metal doll lunges at the protagonist. With agility, the brown-haired man evades the attack, narrowly avoiding a collision. The doll's weapon clatters to the ground, shattering into countless fragments. The young boy realizes the razor sharpness of the blade, and the formidable strength of the metallic dolls. Eugene's immediate priority is evasion. This is clearly a completely different ballgame. The stakes are much higher. Charlie is no novice either. Demonstrating impressive agility, he nimbly sidesteps the second doll's onslaught, evading the flurry of knives without a scratch. The girl manages to shear off a few strands of her hair as she narrowly avoids a blow. The attacks are proving to be swifter than she anticipated. The doll is relentless, not pausing for even a moment. Its assault intensifies, each strike delivered with greater ferocity. The dark-haired girl retreats, dexterously parrying the attacks, showcasing her considerable experience. The scene shifts to reveal wooden beams, a ceiling, and a room adorned in traditional Japanese decor. The brown-haired man continues his skillful evasion. His prowess and speed have evidently increased dramatically since the last encounter. The gray-eyed individual strategizes, determining that neutralizing the puppets is the first order of business, or they'll never reach the puppeteer controlling the deadly game. Eugene instinctively clutches his chest, a gesture of rising concern. A wave of disbelief washes over him. Did something truly momentous just occur? Shaitan observes Charlie, impressed by her remarkable physical preparedness for such a grueling challenge. The monstrous creature comes into sharp focus, revealing its terrifying form. Its crimson body exudes a palpable sense of dread, inspiring primal fear. Even the unsettling hues of its bones add to the creature's nightmarish presence. With agile grace, the girl executes another backflip, narrowly evading the assault of one of the menacing puppets. But the doll launches a surprise attack from above, catching her midair. The hook-like appendage latches onto Charlie's body with terrifying precision as she hangs suspended. The black-haired girl demonstrates lightning-fast reflexes, dodging the imminent threat. She lands gracefully on her feet, but the knives narrowly miss piercing her leg. A chilling near miss. The blue-eyed girl's expression hardens, her focus unwavering despite the danger. Even amidst the chaos, her beauty remains striking, a testament to her inner strength. Eugene's gaze is fixated on the girl's every move, his anxiety growing. He can't help but feel a surge of involuntary worry for her safety. The gray-eyed girl deciphers the woman's cunning strategy. She intends to exploit a momentary opening to seize the doll, and potentially gain control of the monstrous entity. The raven-haired girl's attention was already fixed on the puppeteer, her gaze intense and focused. She completely disregarded the doll itself, as if it held no significance. Attached to the monster's belt were two dolls, clearly marked with the letters A and B. Her objective was clear. She had to snatch one of these dolls. However, both miniatures appeared identical, presenting a perplexing challenge. How could Charlie possibly discern which doll was the correct one to choose? The puzzle was baffling. Against all odds, the protagonist somehow deciphered the enigma and identified the correct doll. The question lingered. How did she accomplish this seemingly impossible feat? With remarkable agility, the long-haired girl swiftly navigated her way towards the skeletal figure. She deftly maneuvered around his menacing dolls, avoiding their potentially dangerous presence. Her expression remained resolute, her eyes fixed on the objective. The scoreboard prominently displayed the game's goal, a constant reminder of the task at hand. It also showed the dwindling time remaining for the heroes, the pressure mounting with each passing second. With only 16 minutes left, the scene shifted to a chilling close-up of the monstrous being, emphasizing its terrifying visage. The monster's appearance was truly horrifying, sending shivers down the spines of the viewers. Suddenly, a spark of insight ignited within Eugene's mind, a potential breakthrough in understanding the creature. Could he have actually deciphered something crucial about the monster's nature or weaknesses? The possibility was tantalizing. The brown-haired man was perplexed by the girl's seemingly effortless approach to the monster. It defied logic. The fact that the puppets hadn't impeded her progress was utterly baffling and raised serious questions. Their inaction was a mystery that demanded an explanation. Filled with a sense of urgency, the gray-eyed man yelled a warning to his friend, urging her to exercise extreme caution. Sensing a hidden danger, a potential trap, the metallic puppet, with stealthy movements, had already closed in on the lady from behind. Unnoticed, startled, she swiftly turned to face the impending threat. The metal automaton, now in clear view, had assumed an attack stance, poised to strike the unsuspecting girl. With lightning-fast reflexes, she reacted instantly. It becomes apparent that the doll's components possess the ability to reconnect seamlessly, a remarkable feature reminiscent of the mechanics observed in the renowned game, Two Heroes. Charlie's hand darts towards her jacket, currently tied around her waist, serving as a makeshift belt. A plan of action rapidly forms in her mind. The blue-eyed girl attempts to fling her jacket over one of the puppet's whirling blades. In a desperate bid to deflect the imminent strike, She swiftly wraps the crimson fabric around herself, clinging to the hope of her only defense, a desperate attempt to shield herself. The moment the puppets split apart, scattering in different directions, the onslaught intensified, a barrage of attacks raining down with ferocious power. Survival hinged on unity. The heroes had to regroup. To stand as one, the puppet seemed unable to breach their defenses. To circle behind their lines. Yet again, it launched a lightning-fast assault, targeting another comrade. With a swift, brutal slash, the puppet managed to wound Charlie, slicing her arm. Caught completely off guard, she was left vulnerable to the attack. Eugene's heart clenched with worry for his injured friend. How could she have been so easily hurt? A wave of disbelief washed over him. The black-haired girl sank to her knees, gasping for breath, struggling to regain her composure. The realization struck her hard. The puppet had actually managed to injure her. Suddenly, one of the severed hands, still clad in a jacket sleeve, twitched to life, the knife it clutched still firmly in its grasp. The brown-haired man knew he had to act quickly. He had to reach the injured woman. She wouldn't be able to evade another attack in her weakened state. With a startling burst of speed, the hand sprang from the ground, ripping free of the jacket and launching itself towards the blue-eyed girl. Red squeezed her eyes shut, paralyzed by terror. The relentless assault left her drenched in sweat, fear gripping her tightly. In a flash, the gray-eyed man throws himself against the monstrous hand, interposing his own body between it and its intended target. His selfless act prevents the devastating blow from landing, effectively neutralizing the immediate threat. Eugene, having been shielded from harm, expertly lands on his feet, regaining his balance with remarkable agility. Miraculously, he emerges from the perilous encounter unscathed, avoiding any serious injuries. Overwhelmed with worry, the young boy anxiously checks on his friend's well-being, his concern evident in his voice. He pleads with her to persevere, urging her to hold on just a little while longer, hoping against hope for her survival. The girl, weakened and exhausted, manages a faint response, indicating she's barely holding on. Drenched in sweat, her clothing torn and soiled, she paints a picture of utter exhaustion and near defeat. With only 14 minutes remaining, the heroes find themselves in a dire predicament, having made no significant progress towards victory. The clock is ticking relentlessly against them. Their efforts have yet to yield any tangible results, leaving them teetering on the brink of failure. Encircled by a horde of menacing monsters, the comrades stand back to back, forming a protective circle as they prepare for a final stand. They rely on each other for survival. The monstrous creatures close in, their menacing presence threatening to overwhelm the outnumbered heroes. Filled with gratitude, the girl expresses her heartfelt thanks to her savior for his timely warning. Acknowledging that he saved her life, his intervention prevented her certain demise, pulling her back from the jaws of death. The young man reveals that he has a strategic plan to secure victory in this perilous game. He exudes an air of confidence and determination. Winning is not just an option, it's an absolute necessity for him. Driven by a purpose yet unknown, Eugene observes that the puppeteer himself doesn't possess overwhelming strength individually. However, the presence of two formidable puppets significantly complicates the situation, amplifying the danger. Facing two opponents simultaneously presents a formidable challenge, making it nearly impossible for the hero to overcome them alone. He needs help. The weight of the main character's words hangs heavy in the air as the young woman contemplates the gravity of their situation and the importance of her survival. The fate of the mission rests on her shoulders. With a focused expression, she mentally strategizes, formulating a new plan of attack amidst the chaos. One of the menacing dolls suddenly launches a volley of knives, each resembling a deadly shuriken. However, these projectiles are significantly larger and more formidable than ordinary shurikens. As Charlie narrowly avoids a blade, he urgently asks his companions for a winning strategy. What do we do to beat this thing? With both comrades skillfully evading the relentless knife attacks, Eugene proposes severing the dolls' controlling strings using their own knives. We can use the knives they're attacking us with to cut their strings, he suggests, pointing at the weapons embedded in the ground. The young woman remains uncertain about her role in the plan, a look of confusion on her face. Observing her hesitation, the brown-haired man meticulously explains the strategy, ensuring she understands every detail. The black-eyed youth confidently proposes a detailed course of action. "I'll lure the string-controlled puppet," he declares, drawing its attention and attacks towards me. "And Charlie," he continues, "you'll seize the opportunity to sever its strings with a well-aimed knife throw." Amidst the ongoing barrage of attacks, the heroes continue refining their plan. Discussing crucial timings and maneuvers, they expertly dodge the doll's relentless assault. Moving with incredible speed and agility, the protagonist executes another flawless dodge, showcasing impressive reflexes as a deadly knife whizzes past. With the plan in motion, they begin their coordinated counterattack. The girl plays a crucial role, needing to remain perfectly still for a brief but vital period. "Hold your position," someone shouts. "Don't attack the doll yet," the black-eyed boy instructs urgently. "We can't let it split into multiple forms." Charlie diligently attempts to execute the boy's instructions, focusing on precise movements and timing. Despite his best efforts to evade the onslaught, his previous wound hinders his agility, making each dodge increasingly difficult. The master plan unfolds before our eyes, revealing the intricate strategies of the entire game. Each step is meticulously laid out, ensuring a comprehensive understanding of how the elaborate scheme will be executed. The fate of the mission now rests solely on the shoulders of our heroes. The brown-haired man has successfully completed his crucial role, executing his assigned part of the meticulously crafted plan. A blade whizzes past, narrowly missing the gray-eyed man's face, severing the puppet's controlling strings with surgical precision. The puppet strings are cut, a clean slice that severs the connection between marionette and master. As the lifeless doll crumples before her, Charlie anxiously questions the success of their daring maneuver. Did it work? Immobilized and facing imminent danger, the main character cries out urgently, emphasizing the critical need to seize the doll before the opportunity slips away. He urges his companions to act swiftly while the window of opportunity remains open. The menacing doll lunges again, its knife flashing dangerously. With skillful maneuvering, the young man deftly guides the attacking doll towards its puppeteer. Reaching out decisively, the boy grasps one of the dolls, attempting to tear it from the skeletal figure's belt with a forceful yank. Suddenly, Eugene becomes paralyzed, frozen in place by an unseen force. A chilling question hangs in the air. Has something truly terrible occurred? To their horror, a puppet's blade pierces the boy's forearm, drawing blood. The brown-haired man, caught off guard, expresses astonishment at the impossibly swift regeneration of the severed threads. The puppeteer, observing the unfolding scene with a calculating gaze, anticipates the hero's every move, strategically distancing himself. With lightning-fast reflexes, the raven-haired girl leaps onto the skeleton's back, daring to make a grab for the coveted doll. Is she truly attempting this now? Witnessing this audacious move, one of the dolls tenses. Gripped by anxiety, urgent action is required. The situation demands immediate intervention. The lanky figure lunges forward, his hands clamping down on a metal fragment, using his own body as a shield. The boy valiantly attempts to restrain the advancing puppets, his urgent cries urging Charlie to hasten his efforts. "Hurry, Charlie!" The brunette shadows the skeleton, relentlessly pursuing the doll, determined to snatch it away. But her path is blocked. Another puppet intercepts her advance. Undeterred, the girl refuses to yield, her spirit unyielding. The blue-eyed girl's unwavering determination, a fierce resolve, burns brightly in her intense gaze. With a swift, decisive movement, she snatches a doll from the skeleton's belt. A daring feat, against all odds. Has she truly succeeded? A sudden notification appears, commanding the contestants to cease their struggle. Charlie has secured doll B. The announcement echoes. Disappointment washes over her. She had only managed to acquire a single doll, while the hero had seemingly accomplished more in a fleeting moment. The challenge concludes abruptly. The system announces an error. The blue-eyed participant has selected the incorrect doll. An imminent explosion is predicted as a consequence of this mistake. The disembodied voice prompts Eugene to make a critical decision. He must choose between two possible outcomes for the deadly game. The first option: continue the game and attempt to retrieve the correct doll. This offers a chance for survival, but with significant risk. The second: terminate the game immediately. This guarantees his own safety, but condemns the girl to a fiery demise. The girl, trapped in the game's cruel grip, cannot relinquish the explosive doll. As the brown-haired man grapples with the weighty decision, a visible tremor overtakes the girl's hands, highlighting the impending danger. The blue-eyed girl stares at the thin man, her eyes wide with a mixture of fear and disbelief. Can he truly abandon her to such a fate? Her silent question hangs heavy in the air. Is he willing to sacrifice her? Lost in a whirlwind of conflicting thoughts, Eugene struggles to find a solution. He desperately seeks the best course of action amidst the chaos and imminent danger. A glimmer of hope emerges. Both teammates now know the correct doll's identity. This newfound knowledge provides a crucial advantage, potentially simplifying their daunting task. However, the puppets controlling strings regenerate with alarming speed. Severing the connection and freeing the girl remains a formidable challenge. The brown-haired man falls silent, retreating into the depths of his mind. He intensely contemplates his next move, the fate of the girl hanging in the balance, analyzing the optimal strategy for both of them to secure victory. The boy is currently not at his peak performance, and brighter prospects await him in future matches. The hero extends an apology to Charlie, his thoughts drifting towards the tempting endgame button. The blue-eyed girl maintains a relatively calm composure, yet beads of sweat betray the intense pressure she just endured. Suddenly, she exclaims, revealing possession of a rare bonus card. In exchange for a favor, she offers this card to the brown-haired man. The stunning woman reveals her own experience with hidden bonuses in previous games, implying that the man possesses similar advantages. The brunette presents her card, granting the privilege of advanced weapon purchases in upcoming games. The gray-eyed man recalls possessing an identical bonus. His bonus: double points in the final round. The protagonist declares a single card insufficient. Charlie retorts that any request is within reason. Urgent pop-up notifications press Eugene for a swift decision, heightening the tension of the moment. The man with the brown hair boldly demands another 500 points, raising the stakes. He also requests the card that the black-haired woman previously offered. Adding to his wager, the gray-eyed man remains resolute and unwavering in his determination. He issues a stern ultimatum. If the girl doesn't agree to his terms and wager everything, she will face severe consequences and deeply regret her decision later. The stunning beauty reluctantly consents to this high-stakes gamble. She's willing to risk everything, sacrificing all she has, to ensure the main character remains by her side in the game. The blue-eyed girl then reiterates their strategic plan, emphasizing its importance. She declares their audacious intention to seize the knife directly from the doll's grasp. A daring move. The slender man silently acknowledges and internally approves of this unexpected turn of events. However, a shadow of doubt and concern still lingers in his intense gaze. The boy confidently announces a shift in strategy. They will no longer sever the strings controlling the doll, but instead aim to directly incapacitate the puppeteer. A more aggressive approach. With keen observation, the young man discovers the source of the controlling threads, the skeletal hands. More specifically, the threads ominously emanate from the hollow eye sockets of the skeleton. The brunette wholeheartedly embraces the skinny guy's daring plan, showing unwavering support. Driven by an insatiable desire for victory, she is willing to go to any lengths to achieve it. With a decisive click, the guy finally presses the "Continue" button, setting the events in motion. The game system whirls to life, initiating the next phase of the challenge. A countdown begins. Both heroes now have a mere 3 minutes to complete their objective. The tension escalates as the clock ticks down, with the ominous threat of the entire gaming hall exploding at the end of the 3 minutes. Blue Eye's anxiety skyrockets as the timer ticks down, worry etched across her face. Eugene, sensing her panic, urges her to remain calm and collected. As the final round commences, a dramatic shift occurs in the arena. The puppets, initially attacking their fellow contestants, now fiercely defend the puppeteer. Their allegiance has completely reversed, protecting their master with unwavering loyalty. The brunette is certain, without a shadow of a doubt, that the gray-eyed man harbors the same desire, to seize the knife. He's after the weapon, but a chilling question hangs in the air. What dire consequences await if they fail? The brown-haired man subtly directs his gaze towards a flickering lamp nearby. A silent proposition to engulf the puppeteer in flames. A desperate measure for victory. The protagonist, formulating a daring plan, requests the long-haired companion to retrieve the torch. Meanwhile, he will personally engage the puppet in a direct confrontation. Buying precious time, he instructs the girl, her fate intertwined with the blade, that she must secure the knife. It's her responsibility. He declares his intention to handle the remaining obstacles, shouldering the burden himself. He'll take care of everything else. The boy's heart races at a rapid 161 beats per minute. Adrenaline coursing through his veins. Remarkably, his pulse remains relatively stable under pressure. The key to success lies in a strategic flank attack. A swift, decisive maneuver from the side is crucial to evade the menacing puppets armed with their formidable large knives. However, a lingering ache in his shoulder serves as a painful reminder of a previous escape. Prior to this moment, he was forced into a hasty retreat. But now, fueled by determination, the young man steels himself, ready to strike with renewed vigor. Without warning, the doll abruptly disintegrated, shattering into numerous small fragments. The lanky figure was completely taken aback by this unexpected turn of events. His heart rate skyrocketed, pounding at a frantic 160 beats per minute. In a flash, his reversal ability was triggered, activating a powerful countermeasure. The brown-haired man's eyes blazed with a golden intensity. Radiating an otherworldly glow, he meticulously surveyed the battlefield, analyzing potential avenues of attack with focused precision. With remarkable agility, the young man effortlessly evaded every beam launched by the metallic doll. The puppet's blows missed their mark, the silk threads slicing through empty air. Fortunately, all hope was not lost. Alternative strategies remained at his disposal. Suddenly, one of the puppet's hands sprang to life. Exhibiting unexpected movement, the hand still clutched a menacing knife. Poised to strike, Eugene urgently bellowed at the girl, commanding her to sprint towards him without delay. As she grasped the torch firmly in her hands, a new path forward emerged. Before them stood a single candle, its flickering flame casting dancing shadows. It served as a symbolic beacon, hinting at the torch both heroes desperately craved. The black-haired girl seized the torch, its substantial size contrasting sharply with her bright blue eyes. Her pace quickened as the relentless puppet attempted to thwart her escape. Closing the distance between them, with breathtaking dexterity, the beautiful girl narrowly avoided a powerful blow from the metal doll. She deftly evaded the sharp blade, narrowly escaping harm. Propelled by the force of the impact, the candle hurtled through the air with astonishing velocity, into the delicate threads that bind the marionette to its master. As the comrade's daring plan unfolds, the connection between puppet and puppeteer becomes their target. With a sudden burst of flame, the candle ignites, its heat intensifying on the strategically positioned threads before it. In a swift maneuver, Eugene seizes the blade from the puppet's grasp, preventing an imminent attack a mere second later. A notification window materializes, flashing urgently on the screen, declaring that successfully evading all incoming assaults for a brief 5 seconds will trigger a powerful effect, revitalizing their chances. The team faces a dwindling clock, with a mere 30 seconds remaining to execute their strategy, before catastrophic consequences ensue, potentially engulfing them all in an explosive demise. Brown commands Charlie to engage the large-bladed puppet, holding it at bay, while he confronts the puppet master directly. A crucial confrontation in their desperate gambit. Eugene's eyes blaze with an even more intense golden aura, granting him a sudden surge of exhilarating speed. The gray-eyed hero instantly utilizes this newfound swiftness, effortlessly surpassing the girl, leaving her trailing in his wake. The long-haired girl is astonished, baffled by the protagonist's incredible burst of velocity, achieved in the blink of an eye. With 90 seconds remaining, the gray-eyed man presses onward against the relentless ticking clock. To accelerate, a technique he clearly enjoys employing. With impressive agility, the young man evades the metal doll's relentless attacks, nimbly maneuvering behind its metallic form. Seizing the opportunity, he unleashes a powerful blow to the doll's back, striking with all his force. The impact is devastating, cleaving the puppet cleanly in two. A shimmering thread rapidly emerges, attempting to re-establish the connection between the severed metal doll and its puppeteer. But in a sudden twist, the thread attaches itself to the very weapon clutched in Eugene's hand. The puppeteer's intention becomes clear: to disarm the protagonist, rendering him incapable of inflicting further harm. Meanwhile, the second puppet disregards the dark-haired youth entirely, single-mindedly advancing towards the puppeteer. With startling speed, the doll leaps towards the boy, brandishing its razor-sharp knife in a menacing arc. Intent on causing injury, our heroes are trapped, left with no viable options. They are forced to abandon their current course of action. But what alternative will they pursue? The camera focuses on the girl's footwear and her legs, leaving us in suspense. She's preparing for a powerful leap. But what's her strategy? Charlie launched himself onto the puppet, desperately attempting to immobilize it. With lightning reflexes, Eugene severed the controlling threads, capitalizing on the crucial opening created by his courageous friend. After a swift sprint, the brown-haired man lunged, aiming his knife directly at the puppeteer. While the puppeteer frantically tried to react, his movements remained incredibly precise and swift. But could he possibly defend himself if his own weapon was entangled? With a ferocious strike, the gray-eyed warrior slammed into the monster's hands, sending them flying in all directions. The clock was ticking relentlessly, leaving the comrades with a mere 20 seconds. Victory was imperative for both heroes in this desperate battle. The girl hurled the doll to the ground, anxiously questioning Eugene's success. Relief washed over them as the warning system confirmed the bomb's deactivation. The warning system blared its confirmation. The bomb was successfully neutralized. Eugene triumphantly raised the deactivated doll, a symbol of their hard-fought victory. Turning towards Charlie, the protagonist declared it was time to honor their agreement. A wave of genuine relief washes over the young woman. Grateful for their survival, she hadn't dared to hope for such a fortunate outcome. A sign comes into view, pointing the way. Just beyond it lies a room designated for physical training, a gymnasium. Have the brothers finally concluded their strategic discussion? Inside the gym's locker room, two men stand engaged in conversation. They're briefing a third individual on the necessary provisions. The urgency in their voices underscores the need for immediate preparation. The scene shifts to a spacious gymnasium, filled with various punching bags. A figure, his face obscured by shadows, emerges. He declares it's time to elevate their game, to move onto an advanced level. The red-haired man questions the catalyst for this sudden shift. He jokingly speculates if it's related to the confiscation of Harry's cookies. John, speaking of his brother Harry, acknowledges the frequent headaches he causes. Despite the trouble, familial bonds remain strong. He's still his brother. A man with piercing red eyes asserts the need to eliminate Eugene. The transgression? A grave insult against his brother. The red-haired man responds with assurance, promising to handle the situation with utmost efficiency and precision. As usual, the redhead, Tom, is the center of attention. He currently holds the impressive 7th position in the overall leaderboard rankings. A massive digital doll displayed prominently on the screen serves as a constant reminder that the testing phase is still in progress. Meanwhile, the heroes engage in intense negotiations, hammering out the details of a crucial deal. Charlie's hard-earned points have already been successfully transferred to Eugene's account. The teammates discuss the intricacies of point transfers, carefully considering each step. The process is deliberately slow and methodical, a necessary precaution to thwart any potential scammers. Despite the seemingly unimpressive and rather shabby appearance of the interface, the dark-haired girl remains strikingly and undeniably beautiful. Our protagonist impatiently inquires about when the blue-eyed girl intends to hand over a specific card. This card holds significantly more value and importance to him than even the points themselves. The brunette clearly expresses her reluctance and unease about producing this particular card. Following this tense exchange, the gray-eyed individual steps in and asks for a clear explanation regarding the connection between the enigmatic card and the ongoing game. The girl reveals that countless players have attempted to uncover hidden weapons within these levels, but their efforts have proven futile. Some have even resorted to trying to wrest weapons from defeated monsters. But such acquired weapons mysteriously vanish upon leaving the game's confines. Charlie informs the boy that weapons are indeed a feature in all advanced games, a secret that remains unknown to many players. The raven-haired woman reiterates her proposition, proposing a collaboration for the upcoming game. Her rationale? She possesses a wealth of pertinent information. The blue-eyed player is piqued, as the dark-haired woman promises a comprehensive debriefing, During the subsequent game, Shaden expresses his eager anticipation for Charlie's invitation, clearly captivated by her intriguing demeanor. A lone figure traverses the frigid, metallic corridors of the chamber, surrounded by a throng of players. This is our protagonist, who remarks on the heightened difficulty of the intermediate games. Gray Eyes ponders the reason behind the other players' intense scrutiny. From behind, a player stealthily approaches the main character. The bandage encircling his arm loosens, as Eugene ambles towards the central chamber, seeking respite after the grueling game. Yet, his pursuer persists, relentlessly tailing him. Abruptly, a voice booms from behind, shouting the young man's name, causing him to recoil in surprise. The scene shifts abruptly to the confines of a dimly lit cell. Heavy chains, suspended from the ceiling, hang ominously in the air. A disembodied voice pierces the silence, urgently requesting someone to wake the baby. Our protagonist is revealed, bound tightly by those imposing chains, his body restrained and vulnerable. A sudden torrent of water cascades down upon him, a brutal awakening from unconsciousness. The brown-haired man jolts awake, his senses assaulted by the cold shock. His steely gray eyes snap open, struggling to focus through the icy water that continues to drench him. Just moments prior, we witness Harry and his fellow players cruelly mocking Eugene's predicament, reveling in his apparent weakness, taunting him relentlessly. The boy recognizes one of his tormentors, the one with the distinctive curly hair. A wave of dread washes over him. Fate seems to have dealt him a cruel hand. After enduring such a grueling ordeal, he finds himself utterly depleted, both physically and mentally. We can only imagine Tom's thoughts, believing the protagonist to possess an almost superhuman resilience and strength. Impressed by this display of power, the red-haired man departs, leaving the gray-eyed man alone with his curly-haired captor. The boy's mind races, desperately trying to place the familiar face. Who is that man? The brown-haired captive knows one thing for certain. He must devise an escape plan. And quickly, for if he remains trapped in this dire situation, death may be his only fate. Harry brings up the intermediate-level game the boy just completed, highlighting his perceived failure. His companions offer insincere apologies, attempting to further demean the boy, but the protagonist remains unfazed by their taunts. Refusing to succumb to their psychological tactics, he retaliates by derisively calling the curly-haired Harry a weakling, incapable of any real action. This bold statement strikes a nerve with Harry, deeply offending his pride. The young man's words have clearly infuriated Harry, pushing him over the edge. Enraged, Harry resorts to threats, attempting to intimidate the protagonist. However, the protagonist anticipates this reaction. Remaining calm and collected, consumed by rage, Harry lunges at Eugene with a heavy iron rod, swinging with all his force. But the gray-eyed Eugene swiftly reacts. Displaying impressive agility, he delivers a powerful kick directly to Harry's head, sending him reeling. The dazed curly-haired Harry orders one of his companions to restrain the protagonist. The brown-haired protagonist, however, commands everyone to remain still. Asserting his dominance, he threatens to choke Harry unconscious with his bare feet if anyone disobeys. With a steely gaze, Eugene orders Harry's immediate release. He warns that he will carry out his threat if his demands are not met. Harry frantically instructs his men to comply with Eugene's orders. The brown-haired man had made his point clear, because he's on the verge of suffocating. The other players seem unconcerned with rescuing their main character from his predicament. If they don't act quickly, he'll perish. Just as all hope seems lost, one of the players suddenly reacts. A flicker of recognition in his eyes. He's noticed something truly astonishing. Something that sends a shiver down his spine. Harry subtly points two fingers behind his back, a gesture concealed from the protagonist's view. While the protagonist remains oblivious, the player mutters something about a big brother. Could this be a clandestine signal? A secret code meant to convey a hidden message? Despite the cryptic communication, one player finally intervenes, rushing to the hero's aid. His objective? To prevent the boss from being defeated and to save the protagonist from certain death. With lightning speed, the player descends, landing nimbly on his feet to avoid injury. Suddenly, Eugene seizes the chain, disrupting the ongoing struggle. He wrenches it free from the chaotic melee. What could he possibly be planning? His intentions remain shrouded in mystery. The gray-eyed man accuses Harry of attempting to harm him twice, and vows that he won't let him get away with it. Without hesitation, he draws attention to the vast array of dumbbells in the gym, ranging from the smallest to the largest. However, Harry counters that the imposing presence of the surrounding players would prevent any such disrespectful treatment of their leader. Shaden asserts that the blame lies squarely with the gang itself, as the boys' actions were solely motivated by a desire to earn points. Harry's patience with Eugene wears thin, finding the unwanted attention increasingly irritating and bothersome. Suddenly, a strange noise emanates from several nearby dumbbells, raising the unsettling question of whether someone might be concealed behind them. The boy, alerted by the distinct sound, braces himself, anticipating the worst possible outcome. Without warning, one of the players seizes a barbell and swings it menacingly at the protagonist. In a swift move to liberate their leader, the brown-haired man releases his captive, narrowly avoiding the heavy iron rod, but maintaining a fixed gaze on Harry. The leader declares that whoever successfully breaks the protagonist's legs will be rewarded with 3 coveted packs of cookies. Seizing the opportunity, the same player launches another attack, but the gray-eyed man deftly evades the blow. Eugene retaliates, striking the gray-haired man with a forceful blow to the back, still firmly gripping the chain in his hands. With a single, powerful blow, our protagonist shattered 3 of his opponent's ribs, sending bone fragments flying. A piercing scream ripped through the air as the injured player clutched his chest in agony. Suddenly, gray-eyed, snapped to attention, sensing a shift in the chaotic battle around him. From the corner of his eye, he saw one of the remaining thugs closing in on the young hero, bringing a heavy iron rod crashing down on his head with brutal force. But with surprising resilience, the boy quickly recovered, lashing out with a swift counterattack, striking his assailant with a length of iron chain. Just as suddenly, another iron bar materialized before the protagonist's face. A looming threat. Fear gripped him as the weapon whistled through the air, inches from his skin. But with a burst of adrenaline, Eugene leapt back, narrowly avoiding the deadly blow. The brunette's eyes ignited with a golden glow, a desperate realization dawning on him that he couldn't hold out much longer. Adrenaline surged through his veins, triggering a latent ability, a reversal of fortune. This sudden power manifested in the brilliant gold now blazing in his eyes. Harry's allies erupted in mocking laughter, deriding the hero's futile resistance. They scoffed at his determination to fight despite being hopelessly outnumbered. Even against overwhelming odds, the golden-eyed warrior showed no signs of wavering. He refused to yield. Eugene charges forward with lightning speed, closing the distance between himself and his adversaries. With uncanny precision, Eugene anticipates and deflects each of the young boy's desperate attacks. He retaliates with swift strikes, expertly disabling his opponent's ability to fight back. From the sidelines, Harry shouts with a mixture of excitement and curiosity, wondering aloud how the hero will manage to escape from such a precarious predicament. The brown-haired man, caught completely off guard, hadn't anticipated this sudden turn of events. He reels as the curly-haired man launches a ferocious attack, sending a powerful blow hurtling towards him. In a feat of incredible agility, the brown-haired man contorts his body, narrowly avoiding the full force of the impact. He extends his leg in a last-ditch effort to absorb some of the remaining energy, desperately trying to soften the blow. Despite his efforts, the pain is excruciating, a searing agony that Eugene can no longer contain. A primal scream erupts from his lips, a raw expression of the intense pain and overwhelming rage that consumes him. Fueled by pure adrenaline, Eugene retaliates, unleashing a furious blow towards Harry with all his might. A wave of terror washes over the curly-haired man as he witnesses the sheer ferocity of Eugene's counterattack. He's gripped by a chilling realization: this could be the end. With brutal force, the brunette slams Harry's face against the unforgiving metal floor. He unleashes his full strength, the impact reverberating through the air as bones begin to break. The devastating blow sends Harry spiraling into unconsciousness, the world fading to black. The raw power Eugene unleashed radiates outward, a tangible force that hangs heavy in the air, standing over his fallen opponent. The brown-haired man seethes, reminding Harry of his attempted assault. "You tried to hurt me, to stop me," he snarls. "So why are you lying on the ground now?" Gray-eyed warns the fighter to protect his vulnerable back, emphasizing that neglecting his defense could prove fatal. The young man skillfully intercepts another attack from the player, who's desperately trying to rescue his incapacitated leader. However, the hero remains unmoved by the player's pleas for mercy, delivering a brutal blow to the temple with a heavy object, causing a stream of blood to flow from the wound. We witness one of the players attempting to drag his injured teammate out of the gymnasium. Overcome with fear of the formidable hero, genuine terror grips him as he worries for his own life and the lives of his companions. Gray-eyed urgently instructs the remaining players not to abandon the gym, demanding a reason for their attempted escape. A message to be delivered. The brown-haired man collapses to the ground, the agonizing realization hitting him that his leg is indeed broken. How will the young man navigate this perilous situation and ensure his survival? The scene abruptly shifts back to room B24, where two individuals are engrossed in a discussion about the impending game. Suddenly, the door swings open, interrupting their conversation. Could this unexpected arrival be our protagonist? One of the men whirls around, startled by the sudden intrusion, craning their necks and squinting. They attempted to get a clearer view of the individual in question. Annoyed by the commotion, one of the men hissed at his companion to be silent. Just as the protagonist stepped across the threshold, the steely gaze of the gray-eyed man locked onto the figure before him, his expression filled with utter disdain and contempt. A concerned friend cautioned his comrade against causing any trouble. With a sigh of resignation, the young man lamented his terrible misfortune of being assigned to the same living quarters as Eugene. Their conversation ended. They departed, leaving behind the rhythmic drip, drip, drip of water emanating from the shower. The shower stall stood empty, devoid of any occupants. Perhaps someone had simply forgotten to turn off the faucet. Eugene sat in deep contemplation, pondering the grim possibility of succumbing to a broken leg. Frustration overwhelmed him. With a primal scream, he slammed his fist into the floor with all his might. How could he have possibly ended up in such a predicament? How could he have been so careless? The gray-eyed man's thoughts drifted to his sister, patiently awaiting his return. Nostalgia washed over him as he reminisced about days gone by. He berated himself, thinking that if he hadn't been so consumed by greed, he would be by his sister's side right now. A glimmer of hope remained. The gray-eyed man clung to the knowledge that his bank card was still with his sister. Surely, those funds would be sufficient to cover her medical expenses. The brown-haired man is perplexed, unable to comprehend why anyone would lament their fate. Especially now, a glimmer of hope has finally emerged. A beacon in the darkness. Suddenly, a startling revelation dawns upon the gray-eyed man, sending shivers down his spine. The realization is so profound it physically shakes him. Eugene's memories of the arena come flooding back, each detail vivid and clear. He begins to delve into the backlog of unread messages, a mountain of information awaiting him. Having amassed over 300 points, the young man unlocks a new world of possibilities. He can now acquire new system abilities, enhancing his power and potential. Access to the coveted shopping center has been granted, leaving the hero himself utterly astonished. Shaden grapples with the sudden change, desperately seeking to understand why access to the shopping center has been unlocked at this precise moment. Amidst the vast array of options, the hero discovers a physical recovery button. Without hesitation, he presses it, eager to reap its benefits. Intrigued, the gray-eyed man contemplates purchasing a pill with a hefty price tag of 1.000 points. He ultimately decides to make the purchase, leaving his balance precariously low at a mere 2.5 points. The brown-haired man resolves to consume the pill, tossing it into his mouth with a sense of anticipation, hoping it will miraculously heal his injured leg. The scene shifts abruptly to a different location. We find ourselves among the hero's companions, engrossed in a conversation about his past leg injury. Harry engages in a lively discussion with Eugene's roommates, who find amusement in his unfortunate predicament, erupting in laughter at his expense. Amidst the boisterous laughter, Curly, the culprit behind the injury, confesses to breaking Harry's leg. They roar with laughter, reveling in the gray-eyed man's misery. Harry retorts with a sarcastic suggestion, advising the protagonist to cower in a corner and await his inevitable demise next time. Curly, eager to express his gratitude, instructs one of the players to fetch some meat. He intends to show his appreciation to those who helped Eugene. Meanwhile, Eugene receives a training notification. Exhausted and yearning for rest, he's ready to succumb to sleep. Suddenly, the brown-haired man realizes his leg is completely healed. To his astonishment, it's as if the injury never occurred. The system store proves to be a miraculous entity, capable of performing incredible feats. The training notification reappears, urging Eugene to participate. Motivated by the reminder, the boy decides to heed the call and commence his training. The young man strategizes, opting to acquire the tempering function first. He plans to unlock the weapon function only after mastering the art of tempering. The gray-eyed individual intends to familiarize himself with more glasses before proceeding. Newcomers are instructed to purchase weapons. Yet Eugene bypasses this, opting to utilize the weapon card bestowed upon him by Charlie during their previous encounter. A system notification abruptly appears, declaring Eugene's imminent transfer to the weapons department. Meanwhile, within the training arena, a man with brown hair patiently bides his time, maintaining an absolute silence amidst the activity. The enigmatic doll reappears before Eugene. The gray-eyed young man, remarking on his extraordinary luck, before extending a formal greeting. The doll reveals that Eugene is the fifth newcomer. To successfully acquire a weapon, she advises him to make a judicious selection. Eugene observes that weapon ownership is a rarity, significantly increasing his chances of survival. However, before making a decision, he must first peruse the comprehensive catalog of available weaponry. Eugene opts for a compact dagger, confessing his lack of proficiency with other weapon types. The doll announces the impending closure of the weapons section. This abrupt declaration leaves the gray-eyed Eugene in a state of shock. A sudden sparkle illuminates the night sky, catching everyone's attention. Could this dazzling light be emanating from the dagger our hero recently acquired? But upon closer inspection, it's evident that this is no ordinary dagger. A peculiar crimson object, resembling a large block, materializes seemingly out of thin air. This massive block appears directly in front of the brunette, practically touching his nose. The sheer size of the block dwarfs the young man, emphasizing its imposing presence. Eugene's destiny seems inextricably linked to this mysterious box. It appears that the sought-after dagger is concealed within. Authorization granted. The lock disengages, signaling access. Slowly but surely, a gleaming dagger emerges from the depths of the box. The brown-haired man stands mesmerized, his gaze fixed on the unfolding scene. He watches intently as the small, yet powerful, dagger reveals itself. A notification window informs the player of their newfound ability to summon a weapon storage box. This ability, however, has limitations, restricted to a specific radius. Time is of the essence. Eugene must commence his training immediately. Failure to do so will result in a point deduction, jeopardizing his progress. The scene shifts to the common room. It's the following day. The atmosphere is tense. The gray-eyed individual's training session has concluded, leaving a palpable sense of unease. One of the bullies, notorious for his antagonistic behavior, prepares to make his move. With deliberate aggression, he forcefully bumps his shoulder into one of the players, instigating a confrontation. A mischievous grin spreads across his face just before he bumps into another player, sending him sprawling. He scolds the fallen player, telling him to pay attention to his surroundings. Our protagonist observes the scene unfold, eavesdropping on the exchange between the two men. Attempting to decipher their words, he struggles to focus amidst the commotion, straining to hear their conversation. The gray-eyed man's attention is suddenly captivated by the sight of food and water. A much-needed respite. His gaze shifts from the provisions to the individuals gathered around them. Assessing the situation, Eugene abruptly rises from his seat, moving with purpose, perhaps with a plan already forming in his mind. He's off to somewhere specific. Meanwhile, Evan engages in conversation with another player, standing near the food and water dispensers, discussing matters of unknown importance. The green-haired man, amidst the bustling crowd, turns to face the individual who has just approached. His curiosity piqued, overcome with surprise, the man struggles to speak, unable to immediately recognize his old friend. He can't believe his eyes. The black-eyed man is certain that the person before him is indeed his former comrade, his friend from a past life. Bewildered, he wonders what his friend could be doing here, in this strange and unexpected place. The scene flashes back to the events of the previous day, providing context to the current encounter. We see the green-haired man's initial encounter with Eugene, a meeting shrouded in mystery. He questions Eugene, inquiring about his remarkable recovery. Expressing his astonishment, the young man once again reiterates his disbelief at the speed of Eugene's recuperation. Sensing something extraordinary at play, he remarks on the strangeness of the situation. The scene shifts to a new location. A pristine white sink and a spotless mirror come into view, directly in front of us. Inside the locker room, the boys discuss their post-game plans. They talk about playing cards. But Harry finds it tedious. He dismisses the idea as dull. Instead, he proposes seeking out Eugene for some amusement, suggesting they find him and poke some fun. The camera focuses on the distinctive red boots of our hero as he strides confidently towards his adversaries. He challenges them directly, asking if they're looking for him. His voice drips with confidence. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning rips through the air, illuminating the scene with an eerie glow. Is he summoning a weapon? The air crackles with anticipation. Eugene astonishingly materializes a knife seemingly out of thin air. It appears as if from nowhere. He exudes an aura of self-assurance, confident in his ability to defend himself. He's ready for a fight. One of the players is so taken aback, he fails to recognize the protagonist. His transformation is startling. His appearance has altered so drastically that he's unrecognizable. The change is dramatic. The other players are equally stunned. A wave of shock washes over them. Just yesterday, the boy had a broken leg, making this display of strength all the more surprising. The transformation is complete. Even Harry is speechless with astonishment. What could have caused such a change? Bewildered, Harry questions the origin of the knife. Where did it come from? He recognizes it as an incredibly rare card, a valuable and powerful item. Its appearance is perplexing, but our protagonist is not someone to be trifled with. He's not backing down. He's a force to be reckoned with. The man with the brown hair swiftly adopts a defensive posture, bracing himself for an imminent confrontation. Unbeknownst to the others, a man with vibrant green hair observes the escalating tension, concealed in the shadows behind a corner, his eyes fixed on the unfolding scene. Evan is completely bewildered by the sudden turn of events, struggling to comprehend the situation. He's baffled by the appearance of the knife in his friend's hand. Questioning its origin, his friend's inexperience only deepens the mystery, making the situation even more perplexing. With a menacing aura, the young boy stands defiantly before his tormentors, poised to strike at any moment. His body coiled like a spring, the brunette steels himself, preparing for action, a sense of righteous anger building within him, determined to make these monsters pay for their cruelty. His sudden transformation shocks his adversaries, leaving them momentarily stunned and speechless. Harry, regaining his composure, commands his underlings to disarm the boy, his voice laced with authority. In the immediate aftermath, the curly-haired individual leans in, whispering urgently that they need to summon his older brother for backup. He stresses the urgency of their escape. Sensing the imminent danger, undeterred by the knife, the thugs remain unfazed, their aggression unwavering. Their malicious intent is clear. They plan to inflict further harm. Aiming to break the boy's other leg, Shaden grapples with a moral dilemma. Recognizing the consequences of lethal retaliation, he understands that killing his attackers would only invite deadly retribution. He knows that such actions could lead to his own demise. Caught in a cycle of violence, with sudden ferocity, the gray-eyed boy unleashes a flurry of knife attacks, inflicting swift and precise cuts upon his enemies. Yet, no one intervenes as the young man systematically disables his attackers, leaving them permanently crippled. Their injuries will plague them for the remainder of their lives, a sentence of perpetual pain until death finally releases them. One of the men desperately aims a gun directly at the knife in Eugene's hand. His intention is clear: to disarm Eugene by shooting the knife from his grasp. But with lightning reflexes, the brown-haired man intercepts the attacker's hand midair, contorting it into a grotesquely unnatural angle. He then plunges his knife deep into the man's wrist, piercing the bone. With a brutal display of force, he twists the blade, maximizing the damage inflicted. The result is horrific. The man's arm is completely severed. Undeterred by the carnage, another assailant charges towards the young man. Panic sets in, and some of the remaining men make a desperate attempt to flee the room. Their escape route is blocked by Evan, the brown-haired man's imposing companion. Guarding the exit, Evan exhibits the same ruthless efficiency, showing no mercy to the fleeing players. His cold, impassive stare reveals his utter lack of compassion. Wasting no time, the gray-eyed man sprints towards the door, but he's too slow. A knife plunges into his back. Black Eyes sees an opportunity. He calculates that aligning himself with this formidable young man would be highly advantageous. The boy's glasses and exceptional fighting skills make him a valuable ally. Harry stands frozen, completely stunned by the brutal scene unfolding before him. He reflects on the sheer difficulty of acquiring a weapon in this chaotic environment, and questions why a newcomer had such incredible luck. Eugene himself fixes a furious glare upon the primary instigator of this entire chaotic situation. His eyes blaze with unconcealed rage. Curly can hardly fathom that after sustaining such grievous injuries yesterday, the other combatant is still on his feet, ready to fight. The scene shifts to a row of shower stalls, each positioned directly next to the other, with the water in all of them turned off. A stark silence hangs in the air. Harry's hand, in a desperate attempt to escape his pursuer, frantically clutches at one of the pipes. He struggles to pull himself away from the relentless hero. The black-haired man seizes the pipe in his own hands, his grip firm and unwavering. He mocks the boy, questioning what he could possibly accomplish with a broken leg. A cruel taunt hangs in the damp air. Covered in blood, the gray-eyed man stands defiantly before his adversary, refusing to yield. The curly-haired man, despite the odds, believes he can still overpower his opponent. Confidence flickers in his eyes. Harry lunges forward, boasting that before the boy can even react, the fight will be over. His words are cut short. However, with a swift, unexpected movement, the brown-haired man parries the attack. A single motion of his hand deflects the blow. The speed of the countermove is startling. Eugene himself observes that Harry's movements are sluggish, lacking the necessary speed. Comparing their speed is a pointless exercise. Following this, with swift precision, the gray-eyed man severs the enemy's little finger. In a single fluid motion, he plunges his knife deeper into the enemy's leg, incapacitating him, rendering him completely immobile. Harry's agonizing screams echo from the bathtub as he writhes in pain. Desperately, he tries to crawl away from his tormentor. Curly questions the young man's intentions, pleading for him to stop. Evan bursts into the bathroom. He urgently begs him to cease the violence as Evan enters the bathroom and attempts to reason with the enraged protagonist, warning that succumbing to the urge to kill will lead to his own destruction. The brown-haired man questions whether the green-haired man intends to intervene on Harry's behalf, escalating the already tense atmosphere. The black-eyed man retorts that he is merely protecting his comrade, imploring him to spare Curly's life. Harry desperately pleads for his life. Claiming to possess a wealth of points, he promises that if spared, he will share them with his would-be killer. In an attempt to de-escalate the situation, the green-haired man asks. Eugene contemplates the dire situation, his mind racing. Curly, consumed by utter despair and hopelessness, frantically searches for any possible solution, any escape route. His desperation fuels a frantic quest for a life-saving decision. Harry interjects, declaring that in this ruthless game, everything is determined by points. Cold and calculated, he proclaims his willingness to pay any price, no matter how steep, to survive. A palpable tension grips the gray-eyed man upon hearing this. Could it be true? Is Harry truly willing to sacrifice everything? A sense of dread washes over him. Is he refusing to cooperate, or are his demands simply unreasonable? With lightning speed, the man with auburn hair plunges a blade deep into his adversary's leg. It seems the preceding dialogue failed to persuade him. He then produces a knife. Its steel once gleaming blue, now stained crimson, a gruesome testament to the bloodshed. The brunette casts a disdainful gaze upon Gary, scoffing that mere spectacles won't offer any solutions in this predicament. The scene shifts abruptly to a frigid, metallic corridor, stark and unforgiving. A solitary door stands out, hinting at the knowledge contained within the library beyond. Two figures meticulously scour the pages of ancient tomes, their search urgent. Are they seeking vital information or perhaps remnants left behind by previous players? Clues to a hidden truth? One individual presents a peculiar container to his companion, instructing him to consume its mysterious contents. Our protagonists return to the forefront. The man with steely gray eyes quenches his thirst while Evan remains by his side. A silent sentinel. The tension seems to have eased from the brunette's demeanor. His features now more composed. He inquires of his comrade, his voice laced with curiosity, whether he fears succumbing to the same fate. The man with verdant hair confesses his apprehension, acknowledging the lurking danger. Yet, fortune favored him, for his presence remained undetected. An associate observes the growing strength of his friend, a transformation both remarkable and concerning. The discussion reveals that the boy will soon be participating in the highly competitive advanced games. A significant step up in the challenges he will face. Shaitan, seeking clarity, directly questions his ally about his true intentions and ultimate goal in this current situation. The green-haired man cryptically states his desire for unification, hinting at a larger plan at play. However, Eugene himself remains perplexed and fails to grasp the potential benefits or the reasoning behind this ambition. The black-eyed individual raises a crucial concern. What are the young man's intentions towards Harry? And what consequences might arise from his actions? He warns that Harry's brother, driven by vengeance, will undoubtedly seek retribution for any harm inflicted upon him. While acknowledging the protagonist's considerable strength and abilities, he emphasizes the formidable power of his adversaries, who pose an even greater threat. He cautions that even if they spare his life, they could inflict grievous injuries that could have lasting repercussions. The man further reveals that numerous teams are vying for the hero's allegiance. Highlighting the intense competition surrounding him, he stresses the necessity of forming their own alliance to navigate this treacherous landscape. Moreover, in the demanding and perilous advanced games, the support and assistance of a trustworthy comrade are invaluable for survival. However, he acknowledges that the young man retains the autonomy to decline the offer. The green-haired individual delivers a stark warning. A lone wolf, isolated and vulnerable, will inevitably fall prey to the scavenging hyenas. He urges caution and emphasizes the importance of strategic alliances. Seeking practical assurances, Eugene inquires about the specific ways in which his friend can provide assistance in the daunting advanced games. Black Eyes reveals he possesses a vast network of connections, valuable assets he's willing to share, provided they join forces and become teammates. A proposition based on mutual benefit. He then emphasizes the fierce competition in advanced gaming levels. A cutthroat environment, driven by the allure of substantial prizes and high stakes. The rewards are worth the risk. Shaitan suggests a trial run, proposing they collaborate on a few games first, before committing to a formal team arrangement. A practical approach to assess compatibility. The green-haired man turns to the protagonist, seeking his opinion, and inquiring whether he's amenable to Black Eye's proposition. A pivotal decision awaits. The prospective teammates solidify their agreement with a handshake, symbolizing their newfound unity, and their commitment to playing together as a cohesive unit. A partnership is forged. The scene shifts to the metallic corridors of the arena, a stark contrast to the previous negotiation, specifically to Room 24. There, we find the red-haired individual, Harry, accompanied by another player named Tom. Anxiety hangs in the air as Tom inquires about a younger player's well-being. The brown-haired man paints a grim picture, his words filled with distress, describing the young man's severe injuries, profuse bleeding and a fractured bone. The situation is dire. The red-haired man expresses his bewilderment, struggling to comprehend how such devastating injuries could have been inflicted, especially considering Eugene's compromised state. The player recounts witnessing Eugene wielding a knife, covered in blood, a chilling revelation. The implication is clear. The hero shows no mercy, leaving a trail of victims in his wake. A ruthless reputation. The red-haired man is stunned by the news of the boy possessing a knife, a detail that deepens the mystery. He truly underestimated the hero's capabilities. The man responds that fear now grips everyone. Eugene poses a clear and present danger. The redhead asserts there's no need for alarm, vowing to protect the other man. Impressed, the man calls him cool. Tom believes the brown-haired man's abrasive personality will deter any collaboration. The man's primary objective is acquiring weaponry. 72 hours have elapsed. The gray-eyed, green-haired man emerges, having just completed a game. He seeks participants for an intermediate-level game with heightened difficulty, requiring 3 players. The hero considers enlisting Charlie. The protagonist and his companion have already conquered several challenging games within the past few days. The green-haired man exudes optimism. He frequently assures them they are on the cusp of unlocking an advanced game. Upon reaching 4.000 points, the system will grant access to new skills. The hero's next unlockable skill is Phantom Double. Eugene laments his prior allocation of points. Shaitan proposes an early departure, anticipating a formidable challenge in the upcoming battle. The green-haired man observes Tom, realizing that he has been under surveillance for several days. What could Tom's intentions be? The gray-eyed individual speculates that Tom's interest likely stems from Harry and the unique weapon. He advises against rushing into any confrontation. Meanwhile, the main character texts Charlie, only to learn that she won't be able to attend the game. Disappointment washes over the green-haired man as he realizes he'll miss the chance to connect with Charlie. Finding a reliable team proves difficult. Suddenly, a team invitation notification pops up on the main character's device. To his surprise, it's Tom who has requested to join his team. What is Tom playing at? The red-haired man beckons with a wave of his hand, approaching the protagonist team. Intrigue hangs in the air. What are his true motives? The scene shifts to a room within the arena, where a loud cough echoes. It's Harry, who abruptly seizes the player and demands his glasses, promising to return them later. Curly suddenly recalls that the player is perpetually online, yet the cookies remain unpaid for. It's high time to settle the bill. Satan declares that he simply can't manage his point balance this way, as a substantial portion of them are being funneled to Harry. Reaching Harry's younger brother proves impossible. The man asserts that he'll have to find someone else. The scene focuses on the boy's bracelet, reflecting Harry's horrified expression. The younger brother had desperately sent numerous messages to his older sibling, but the older brother's constant immersion in the game world created an insurmountable communication barrier between them. Kudryavi is consumed by utter despair, tears streaming down his face. He expresses his absolute terror of death. Harry has a single minute remaining to join the game. Should he fail, he will be penalized 500 points, reducing his account balance to 0. Blisters begin to erupt around the bracelet on the boy's wrist. Time is rapidly slipping away. The blisters then spread relentlessly, engulfing his entire body. The young man cries out in agonizing pain. Crimson stains begin to seep across the room's walls, painting a gruesome tableau. The unfortunate man met a grisly end, exploding due to a lack of corrective lenses. His body couldn't handle the strain. The scene shifts back to our protagonist and his companion, who are desperately trying to decipher the enigma that is Tom's mind. Unraveling the secrets hidden within, a wave of astonishment washes over the brunette, as he realizes the redhead has been merely playing a part, his true intentions masked by a facade of inaction. The question lingers. What prevented him from acting sooner? Suddenly, Tom materializes, greeting the heroes with a familiar air. He remarks on the passage of time since their last encounter, observing that it feels like an eternity. Yet, he reveals a constant surveillance, his watchful gaze never leaving them. Without preamble, Tom cuts to the chase. Dispensing with pleasantries, he confesses to underestimating the hero's capabilities. Admitting his misjudgment, he proposes a collaboration, expressing his desire to join forces and enter the game alongside the hero. Gray Eyes voices his reservations, cautioning against the potential dangers of such an alliance. However, Tom remains steadfast, asserting that the boy always has the option to eliminate him if necessary. The boy steels himself for a final confrontation. Ready to bring their conflict to a decisive end, he resolves to face the repercussions of his past actions head-on. No longer seeking refuge and evasion, Eugene interjects, urging them to abandon the pretense and face the reality of the situation. He points out the redhead's long-standing animosity, revealing a deep-seated hatred from the very beginning. Shaitan welcomes the young man into their ranks, accepting him as a member of their team. He challenges the newcomer to demonstrate his prowess, urging him to prove his worth as a top 10 player. The red-haired man expresses a keen interest in the hero's rapid ascent. He's captivated by the hero's meteoric rise through the ranks, remarking on his exceptional speed. However, his words seem to fall on deaf ears as his companions dismiss his observations. They casually suggest he head to the game room. Brushing off his concerns, the green-haired man attempts to persuade the boy, urging him to reconsider, but the boy remains resolute, firmly standing his ground. His decision is unwavering. Shaden assures Evan that his participation isn't mandatory, claiming he's not being coerced. However, he subtly implies that refusal now will have consequences, making it clear that Evan has little choice. A second chance won't be offered. He emphasizes the finality of the decision, stating that a future opportunity won't be presented. He won't be asked again. The green-haired man vehemently declares his unwavering commitment to participate. His determination is fueled by the burning need to triumph over Tom. Victory is paramount. A notification appears, announcing the arrival of Eugene, Evan, and Tom in the game room. The trio has entered the designated area. A seemingly endless, spiraling staircase comes into view, twisting upwards into the unknown. Its apex remains hidden, disappearing into the unseen heights above. The top is nowhere in sight. The heroes contemplate the staircase's purpose and significance. They ponder if it's a stairway to heaven, a pathway to a celestial realm, but they question its presence in this particular location. Its existence here seems out of place. The green-haired man surveys the surroundings, a chilling realization dawning on him. He understands that a fall from this treacherous height would undoubtedly result in certain death. The consequences of a misstep are fatal. The man with brown hair scans the room, his eyes meticulously searching for clues. His gaze then shifts upwards, focusing intently on the ceiling above. He seems to be carefully examining the staircase, perhaps contemplating an ascent. Tom and Turn both abruptly look towards the top of the stairs, their attention drawn by something unseen. A shadowy figure, or perhaps a creature, is faintly visible, lurking in the dimly lit space. Our heroes face a series of critical tasks, challenges they must overcome. These objectives must be completed within the game's unforgiving time limit, mere seconds. The boys' game commences with well wishes and expressions of good luck for the arduous trial ahead. However, contrary to initial expectations, the young men discover they are not bound by a strict time constraint. The individual with piercing gray eyes observes Tom's presence in the room, a detail of potential significance. For the first time, Evan inquires whether the hero has noticed anything unusual or out of place. Given the absence of a specified time limit, the potential implications of this anomaly are discussed. The red-haired man delivers a grim warning: failure will result in dire consequences. Should they fail the task, the boys will face eternal imprisonment. Trapped with the monstrous entity, Tom makes a crucial request to the protagonist. He needs weapons to aid in their fight for survival. Only with the necessary armaments will he pledge his assistance and join their cause. Evan postulates that the red-haired individual likely possesses crucial knowledge. He suspects that the red-haired man already knows the monster's vulnerabilities, its weaknesses. In response to this theory, the brown-haired man offers a chilling counter-proposal. He suggests a drastic course of action. They must devise a plan to eliminate Tom first, before it can unleash its wrath upon them. Time runs out for the boys, and the game abruptly begins. A monstrous figure suddenly leaps down the stairs, initiating the terrifying encounter. The creature is truly grotesque, its appearance sending shivers down their spines. Its body is covered in festering blisters, a truly repulsive sight. Disturbingly, faces are embedded in its legs and stomach, adding to its nightmarish form. Wasting no time, the monster strikes first, launching a ferocious attack. Eugene narrowly avoids the blow, demonstrating impressive agility. The monster's eyes blaze with a furious red glow. Enraged by the missed attack, its fury intensifies. Defeating this formidable creature will be a monumental task for the heroes. The green-haired and gray-eyed men quickly assess the monster's threat. The unsettling springs on its legs don't instill confidence, hinting at unpredictable movements. The red-haired man frantically retreats from the battle. He urgently pleads with the brown-haired man for a weapon. He fears for his life, but his desperate cries go unheard amidst the chaos. Tom's words are lost on his comrades. Oblivious to the plea, they strategize against the enemy. Their plan hinges on applying stickers to the monster, a seemingly bizarre tactic. The young boy realizes he must buy precious time for his friends. He needs to find those crucial stickers before it's too late. Gray-eyed watches in astonishment, completely taken aback by the monster's incredible speed. Its spring-loaded limbs propel it forward with astonishing swiftness. making it a blur of motion. The monster's velocity is truly remarkable. Its movements a whirlwind of speed and power. Rising abruptly from a combat-ready stance, it launches a surprise attack. Brown Hair reacts instantly, narrowly avoiding the monster's deadly strike with a nimble dodge. His reflexes have clearly sharpened since their last encounter. He's significantly faster. The monster, its body covered in pulsating pustules, launches a volley of them at the players. Each pustule carries a deadly toxin, a potent poison that threatens instant incapacitation. Eugene makes a daring leap from the main platform, leaving everyone to wonder what audacious plan he's concocting. From below, Tom observes Eugene's descent, speculating that he's attempting to secure a strategic foothold. But his opponent anticipates this move and won't allow him to gain the upper hand so easily. A predatory grin spreads across the red-haired man's face as he focuses on his adversary, his mind clearly calculating a cunning strategy. Unseen, the monster has already maneuvered itself behind the main character. But this seemingly disadvantageous position is actually a calculated tactic. By placing Tom in the line of fire, the monster creates a perilous situation for both of them. A labyrinthine network of intersecting staircases stretches before them, crisscrossing at various points, creating a complex web of pathways. The two rivals engage in a fierce race against time, their feet pounding against the steps as they sprint up a seemingly endless ladder. Eugene is making a daring escape, sprinting away from a monstrous creature lurking behind a counter. Despite the imminent danger, Eugene inexplicably exhales calmly, a mischievous grin spreading across his face. Against all odds, he manages to pull off the improbable. The gray-eyed Eugene intentionally slows his pace, allowing the monster to close the distance between them. His cunning plan is to lure the monstrous being towards Tom, using him as a diversion. In a daring move, Tom, our protagonist, leaps from a ledge, landing on a lower set of steps. The sheer height of the drop makes the jump appear terrifyingly dangerous. The brown-haired man frantically pleads with the red-haired Eugene not to abandon him. However, he's stunned by the incredible speed at which Eugene catches up to him. Tom wryly observes that, judging by the current situation, anyone would mistakenly assume he and the monster are working together. Eugene's gray eyes flash with anger at Tom's sarcastic remark. Ironically, Eugene's own actions, driven by a relentless pursuit, could easily be mistaken for those of a monster. His bloodlust further blurs the line between hero and villain. After a frantic search, the boy finally locates the stand displaying the coveted sticker. He strategically positions himself to conceal the sticker from the red-haired Eugene. But their momentary triumph is shattered when the monster launches a surprise attack, pelting them with its venomous projectiles. These toxic abscesses pose a grave threat to both of them. Shaden, suspecting Tom has already acquired the sticker, confronts him. However, Tom declares he will only relinquish the sticker after obtaining a weapon. It appears the red-haired antagonist has already deciphered the protagonist's strategic intentions. He anticipates every subsequent move Eugene will make. With a surge of adrenaline, he unleashes a brutal assault upon Eugene, striking with full force. Miraculously, Eugene manages to deflect the blow with his bare hands, showcasing impressive defensive skills. Despite Tom's seemingly unassuming physique and deceptive appearance of weakness, his punches possess an unexpected and formidable power. The brown-haired combatant demonstrates comparable prowess in the martial arts. He launches a swift kick aimed at his adversary, attempting to incapacitate him. However, with remarkable agility, Eugene evades the attack. Amidst the intense battle, the monstrous creature feels utterly irrelevant and out of place. The heroes are completely engrossed in their own confrontation, paying no heed to the lurking beast. The scene abruptly shifts to Evan, who beams with triumphant joy, proudly proclaiming the discovery of one of the coveted stickers. Witnessing his friend's precarious predicament, the dark-eyed man resolves to swiftly intervene and provide much-needed assistance. The brown-haired warrior continues his relentless engagement with Tom, while simultaneously fending off attacks from the relentless monster. Tension hangs heavy in the air as the battle reaches a fever pitch. The red-haired man is poised to deliver a final, decisive blow, attempting to send Eugene plummeting over the precipice of the cliff. Despite the imminent danger, he relentlessly pursues the coveted weapon. Gray Eyes acknowledges his opponent's remarkable prowess, commending his exceptional combat skills. He admits that the young man's relentless assault has forced him into a precarious position. Suddenly, a series of system notifications materialize, flashing urgently before him. The messages reveal a game-changing ability. The boy can now utilize the elusive Phantom Double skill. With newfound determination, the gray-eyed combatant activates the Phantom Double skill. The sudden appearance of multiple opponents throws the red-haired warrior into a state of utter bewilderment. Tom is completely baffled by the unfolding events. Struggling to comprehend the situation, he's certain his attack landed squarely on his target. Yet his opponent remains unscathed, but his foe deftly evaded the blow. A Phantom Double materializes mere inches from the protagonist, revealing the secret to his escape. A wave of arrogance washes over Gray Eyes. He questions the young man's pride, mocking his apparent overconfidence. A sudden shift in the atmosphere occurs as the young man's expression contorts with worry, a palpable sense of dread washing over him. The brown-haired companion, witnessing the unfolding scene with a mixture of shock and alarm, realizes he must prevent Tom's impending doom. He understands that if Tom falls, he too will be dragged into the abyss, the sticker binding their fates together. Confusion grips the red-haired man as he grapples with the inexplicable escape of his gray-eyed adversary. He remains perplexed by how the gray-eyed man managed to evade his seemingly unavoidable strike. The red-haired antagonist himself recognizes the hero's desperate need for the sticker. He comprehends its significance. He issues a command, demanding that the sticker be seized from the hero. Driven by a sense of urgency, the boy races against time to prevent Tom from plummeting into the bottomless chasm. With the sticker in hand, Eugene cleverly activates his skill in reverse, launching himself towards the sticker clutched in his opponent's grasp. The brown-haired youth possesses a remarkable ability. He can foresee impending actions. He anticipates Tom's strategy, allowing him to take the sticker, only to swiftly pull him away. Feigning innocence, the boy extends his hand towards the red-haired man, attempting a cunning deception. Tom falls for the ruse, completely taken in by the act. Overconfident, he believes the young man has succumbed to his own scheme, but in a swift maneuver, the boy thwarts the plan, deftly placing his foot beneath his enemy's toes. The gray-eyed youth, with lightning reflexes, propels the red-haired man onto another stone platform with a powerful shove. However, Tom loses his footing once more, plummeting downwards, but at the last possible moment, he manages to grasp the edge, narrowly avoiding a disastrous fall. Eugene, already in position, prepares to deliver another blow to his struggling opponent. A wave of panic washes over the red-haired man as he realizes the young man can anticipate his every move. He starts to feel a growing sense of dread. With unnerving accuracy, the young man continues to predict and counter Tom's actions. The gray-eyed youth unleashes a forceful blow, striking Tom squarely in the face. Tom recoils in agony, his grip weakening as the pain overwhelms him. He begins to fall once again, in a desperate attempt to regain control. The brown-haired youth cries out to Evan for assistance. His urgent plea suggests a critical need to retrieve the sticker as quickly as possible. The scene shifts to reveal the green-haired man, positioned at the lowest level of the towering stone platforms. Tom anticipates the protagonist's descent, swiftly seizing him by the leg. He maintains a vice-like grip, ensuring the protagonist doesn't plummet to the depths below. Meanwhile, Gray Eyes struggles to regain his breath. Exhausted from the grueling intensity of the recent battle, the ordeal has clearly taken a significant toll on him. As the sun dips below the horizon, painting the sky with hues of orange and purple, it becomes apparent that the heroes have lost track of time within the confines of the room. The camera then focuses on two stickers, discarded and forgotten on a cold stone slab. Despite the challenges, the team has managed to progress in their quest. The scene shifts to the group, huddled together, strategizing their next move. Their primary objective remains to locate the remaining elusive stickers. The man with brown hair expresses his unwavering certainty that the red-haired man couldn't have possibly acquired another sticker. The question lingers: where could the missing stickers be hidden? Evan meticulously examines every nook and cranny, every brick in the room, but his efforts prove futile. The sticker remains elusive, their desperation palpable. Gray Eyes interjects, claiming he knows of an unexplored location, a place they haven't ventured to. Since the commencement of the game, the green-haired man, surprisingly, doesn't dismiss the suggestion outright. Their search extended to every nook and cranny along the entire perimeter, leaving no stone unturned. Despite being down, Tom remains a contender in the game, suggesting that he is likely still alive and breathing. The man with auburn locks believes the redhead is still among the living. Clinging to hope, he shares this optimistic assessment with his comrade, bolstering their spirits. Once again, the monstrous creature emerges from the shadows, perched menacingly atop an intricately carved stone block. Surveying its surroundings, the beast appears to have weathered the storm, defying death itself. Its terrifying visage remains unchanged, as formidable as their first chilling encounter. In a flash, it propels itself skyward with its powerful springs, leaping with astonishing agility. Black Eyes observes this breathtaking display from a concealed vantage point, hidden behind the imposing stone walls of a massive edifice. While the heroes prudently avoid a direct confrontation with the creature, it poses no immediate threat. A cautious circumvention is their chosen course of action. The team carefully descends a winding stone staircase, spiraling downwards into the unknown. The setting sun casts a warm, golden hue upon everything, painting the scene in rich colors. Time leaps forward by a few fleeting minutes. Two crimson sweaters are bound together, a symbol of camaraderie and shared purpose. A companion inquires of Eugene's commitment to this perilous descent, questioning his resolve given the unseen depths that lie below. Clutching one end of the sweater with a firm grip, the green-haired man anchors himself. Meanwhile, our protagonist carefully descends, using the other side of the sweater as a makeshift rope. Just as the descent seems endless, the friend suddenly remembers the crucial sticker. Driven by a desire to escape the confines of the room, the young man grows impatient. Without warning, the boy's eyes widen in astonishment as he spots something utterly unexpected. A descending staircase, seemingly materializing from beneath the clouds, catches the brown-haired man's attention. Seized by a sudden resolve, he decides to venture down the mysterious stairway. With a series of agile maneuvers, the boy swiftly lowers himself from the rocky ledge, using his feet to find purchase. In a stroke of luck, the brown-haired man manages to grab hold of the ladder just as it fortuitously swings within his reach. Drenched in a cold sweat, his heart pounding, he realizes he had just narrowly escaped a brush with death. The precarious situation underscores the need for extreme caution. Step by cautious step, the protagonist makes his way down the treacherous stairs. One wrong move could send him plummeting to his doom. The stairs abruptly end, leaving him stranded with no apparent path forward. Above, the sun continues to bathe the scene in its radiant glow, offering no solace. Exhaustion begins to take its toll on the brown-haired man. Reaching the bottom of the seemingly endless staircase, he's baffled by Tom's sudden disappearance. Where could he have gone? The gray-eyed hero, ready to take a leap of faith, prepares for a daring move. He jumps from the ladder, plunging into the abyss below, seemingly towards the clouds. But a completely unexpected sight takes him by surprise. What could it be that lies before him? A vast, shadowy chamber suddenly materializes before Eugene, and he finds himself plummeting into its depths. It seems that this mysterious room holds more secrets than they could have ever imagined. What other enigmas lie hidden within this place? The chamber bears an uncanny resemblance to a room from a recent game. A game called Charlie that the hero had just played. The room is shrouded in a dim, eerie light, with a peculiar structure standing directly in its center. And there, sitting before the structure, is Tom, lost in thought. The red-haired man contemplates his current predicament. How did he end up in this strange place? He seems to have no recollection of how he got here. His first priority, he decides, is to obtain the sticker. But where could it be? And only then will the system grant him release. Suddenly, a thunderous boom erupts as something bursts open, violently shaking the entire room. Our protagonist plummets from above, appearing completely unconscious, utterly lacking control over his body's movements. The red-haired man seems delighted by this unexpected company, exclaiming that he has been eagerly awaiting a hero's arrival for quite some time. However, the brown-haired man is, in fact, conscious, and desperately needs to devise a plan to prevent a fatal fall. The boy's gaze is instantly drawn to a peculiar sticker, affixed to a strange, unfamiliar building, but he must remember to focus on landing safely. As he hurtles at breakneck speed, directly towards the red-haired man. The boy realizes he's falling too rapidly to alter his trajectory. What can he possibly do? Just then, he notices an air cushion on the floor below. The cushion instantly inflates, catching the gray-eyed man. The red-haired man seizes the opportunity to poke fun at the hero's predicament. Even the seemingly unassuming Eugene possesses a sharp wit in these matters. He sarcastically remarks that Tom is fortunate to have survived the encounter. The red-haired man harbors a strong suspicion that the boy is concealing something significant. He probes Tom's mind, inquiring if he's harboring any hidden secrets. The brown-haired man acknowledges his opponent's cunning and intelligence. However, he abruptly shifts the conversation back to the topic of weaponry. The gray-eyed man firmly declares his unwavering attachment to his weapon. Tom scoffs at the man's sentiment, mocking his attachment. He understands that acquiring weapons is a far more challenging feat. Unlike obtaining pills, the brown-haired man emphasizes the significance of weaponry. He presses his advantage. He alleges that the red-haired man is subservient to Joe, completely under his control. The newcomer deduces that the man desires the gun for a specific purpose. He believes the man intends to use the weapon to usurp Joe's position of power. The young man is utterly astonished by this revelation. The brown-haired man has overwhelmed him with a torrent of information. The protagonist continues to discourse on the various types of weapons. He asserts that the leader possesses only a single weapon. Tom, snapping back to reality, becomes increasingly agitated. He breaks out into a cold sweat, his anxiety fueled by the gravity of the conversation. He realizes that if Joe were to perish, the red-haired man would likely ally himself with the protagonist. The brown-haired man, his face etched with seriousness, extends an invitation to the red-haired man, urging him to join forces with his team. This proposition aligns perfectly with the red-haired man's own intentions. The scene shifts back to the confines of the room. Tom finds himself grappling with the weight of the offer, contemplating its implications with utmost care. A nagging suspicion tugs at Tom's mind. He senses a hidden agenda. He voices his apprehension, questioning whether the hero's invitation is a cleverly disguised trap. The brown-haired man counters with a stark truth. In this treacherous environment, safety is an illusion. He acknowledges the possibility of the red-haired man's descent. Recognizing his autonomy, Gray Eyes interjects with a pointed inquiry, challenging the young man's unwavering obedience to Joe's directives. Is he truly content to perpetually dance to Joe's tune? A sly smirk spreads across the young man's face. He muses aloud, intrigued by the enigma of Eugene's potential allegiance to their team. However, the newcomer proposes a prerequisite: acquiring a sticker before delving into such weighty matters. Only after securing this seemingly insignificant item will he entertain further discussion. The sticker itself resides within a peculiar, enigmatic orb, a complex structure composed of interconnected elements. The red-haired man expresses gratitude for the effort expended in locating the sticker. He then reveals that during his absence, the young man diligently studied the gong. Tom unveils the intricate plan to his comrade, revealing the steps required to conquer the challenge. The initial step involves striking a series of gongs, each blow initiating a crucial sequence of events. Following the resonant clues provided by the gong's vibrations, floating cubes will materialize within the chamber, seemingly out of thin air. Our protagonist must then skillfully navigate these ephemeral platforms, leaping from one to the next. The red-haired man's prior failure now becomes clear. This enigmatic puzzle demands collaboration. A test designed for teamwork. This chamber was specifically crafted to necessitate the synergy of multiple individuals working in perfect harmony. The heroes commence their endeavor with the resounding clang of the first gong, initiating the intricate sequence. The powerful reverberations echo throughout the vast expanse of the room, amplifying the tension. Tom urges his companion to act with utmost haste, emphasizing the critical importance of speed. With time rapidly dwindling, the young man strikes another gong, continuing the complex rhythmic pattern. This arduous undertaking necessitates peak physical condition, pushing the limits of human endurance. The brown-haired man pauses for a brief period of contemplation, meticulously analyzing the situation. He carefully weighs his options before committing to a decisive course of action. As he initiates the movement of a cube, another materializes from the seemingly empty space, confirming their strategy. This newly formed platform provides a vital stepping stone for the hero to continue his precarious journey. A succession of pristine white cubes rapidly manifest, each appearing in quick succession, synchronized with Tom's precise strikes upon the gong. The cubes continue to emerge. Each cube has a fleeting existence, vanishing approximately 5 seconds after its emergence, increasing the pressure. The crucial factor is Tom's ability to maintain the relentless rhythm, ensuring a continuous path for his ally. We observe the sheer strength and unwavering determination as the redhead relentlessly pounds the gong, striving to assist Eugene. However, the tempo of the gong's rhythm accelerates drastically, causing the player to become visibly agitated and overwhelmed by the escalating intensity. Suddenly, the player falters, missing a beat. This misstep occurs because the gong unexpectedly resounds 3 times instead of the anticipated 2. The protagonist, too, is visibly exhausted from the demanding, high-intensity exertion, his body drenched in sweat. The cube beneath the boy's feet begins to dissolve and fade away, filling him with a surge of fear and bewilderment. The brown-haired man plunges from a significant height, landing squarely on his backside. Clearly disoriented and frustrated, the redhead is filled with remorse for his actions. Or rather, his inaction. Fortunately, Eugene remains unharmed. Shaden, observing the situation, criticizes Tom's gong striking technique, confiscating his gong mallet as a consequence. Scar appears perplexed and bewildered by the unfolding events. Before his very eyes, the protagonist commences his warm-up routine, preparing to establish the rhythm by sprinting laps around the chamber. However, the gray-eyed man disregards his teammates, rebukes and continues his unique warm-up method. It's revealed that our hero's bizarre actions were a calculated move to elevate his heart rate, ingeniously attempting to trigger a unique skill in reverse, a desperate gamble with unknown consequences. The scene shifts abruptly to the heart of the action, the bustling arena itself. Before us stands the boxing ring office, a hub of activity and anticipation. Nearby, other doors hint at hidden passages and secret encounters. Suddenly, an empty bottle goes flying, crashing against rusty iron cubes piled beside several heavy bags. A subtle hint of brewing tension. Inside a rusty cage, a lone player nervously explains the situation to Joe, his words laced with worry. The confined space amplifies the sense of impending danger. He reveals a deeply personal connection to the unfolding events, speaking with raw emotion about his brother's involvement. With a flourish, the man unveils his renowned weapon, a symbol of his strength and a harbinger of potential violence. The massive purple sword gleams ominously, its size and color hinting at immense power and a formidable presence. A powerful figure, the elder brother, watches the scene unfold with barely contained fury, his every gesture radiating displeasure. Surrounded by his loyal entourage, red eyes seethes, his anger palpable in the tense atmosphere. His nickname hints at a volatile and dangerous nature. The reason for his rage becomes clear: the recent loss of his own brother. A wound that festers with grief and vengeance. Joe, sensing the escalating tension, inquires about Tom's whereabouts, his question hanging heavy in the air. He learns that Tom has gone to the game with Eugene, a seemingly innocuous detail that adds another layer of complexity to the situation. But the tension remains unbroken. The elder brother's fury simmers, threatening to boil over. This is more than just brotherly concern. He fumes over having been forced to endure a frustrating delay at the previous game, adding fuel to his already burning rage. With a chilling command, the leader orders his underlings to bring the main character before him, his voice dripping with menace. The order is explicit: the captive must be delivered immediately after the game concludes, setting the stage for a potentially violent confrontation. Acting swiftly and brutally, one of the henchmen seizes the player, yanking him roughly by the collar, demonstrating the leader's absolute authority. The young man pleads for his life, begging the merciless figure to show him mercy. But in a flash, the red-eyed tormentor severs one of the young man's legs with brutal swiftness. Blood splatters everywhere. Unmoved by the pleas and the gruesome scene, the man refuses to believe the young man's claims. He reasons that if the young man truly aided his brother wouldn't have met his demise because of the glasses. The death is directly linked to the eyewear, proving the young man a liar. The scene abruptly changes. Returning to our protagonists. Inside the peculiar circular chamber containing the mysterious sticker, the brunette unleashes a powerful strike upon the gong. Using all his strength, contemplating his strategy, he discusses his plan with Tom, analyzing the situation and refining their approach. Meanwhile, Gray Eyes meticulously calculates the perfect moment to activate his unique ability. Waiting for the opportune time to strike, the red-haired man questions the young man's capabilities. Expressing doubt about his ability to handle such a demanding challenge, he emphasizes the difficulty of the task, warning that it's far from simple. Harnessing the power of his special skill, the boy anticipates the sequence, visualizing which gongs will illuminate next. Shaden carefully formulates his tactics, devising a plan to overcome the obstacle before him. His objective is clear: strike 4 gongs in the correct order. The pressure mounts as he assesses the complex pattern. Against all odds, he rises to the occasion, executing his plan flawlessly. With astonishing speed and precision, he successfully strikes the gongs in rapid succession. Even Tom is left speechless, utterly astounded by the young man's agility and skill. The sheer velocity and ferocity of the young man's movements leave everyone in awe. Astonishment filled the red-haired man's face, his eyes wide with disbelief, as another cube materialized seemingly out of thin air. Hovering before him, the brunette issued a cautionary word, warning that Scar would need to exert tremendous effort to successfully leap onto the platform. With a burst of adrenaline, the man accelerated with incredible speed, desperately trying to close the distance to the coveted sticker. He lost his footing, tumbling from the cube, but in a last-ditch effort, managed to snag one of the metal rings with his outstretched hand. Observing the dramatic scene unfold, the gray-eyed man patiently awaited the outcome, standing silently nearby as Tom, against all odds, grasped the edge of the platform. A stroke of luck. The most crucial thing was that he hadn't fallen. It had been a Herculean feat, but the red-haired man had triumphed. He now clutched the sticker in his grasp, victory within his reach. With a grinding sound, the ceiling began to retract, triggered by the removal of the sticker from its circular stand. A triumphant grin spread across Scar's face, as he declared it was time for their departure. The test successfully completed, the gray-eyed man breathed a sigh of relief, but instructed Scar to proceed first. Meanwhile, Evan remained stationary, positioned at the edge of the staircase, observing the scene. As twilight descends, painting the sky in hues of deep indigo, black-eyed Wonder grows increasingly concerned about his comrade's unusual behavior. A sense of unease washes over him, suspecting something might be amiss. Suddenly, a tug at the edge of his jacket jolts him back to reality. A familiar voice calls out, addressing the green-haired man by name. Relief washes over the young man as he exhales, tension leaving his shoulders. He assumes the gray-eyed man has finally returned from his sword practice, his worries dissipating. Meanwhile, their comrades patiently await Tom's recovery, holding out their sweaters in a gesture of comfort and support. The green-haired man voices his doubts, questioning Scar's trustworthiness. He wonders if Scar's apparent goodwill is merely a facade, a ploy to gain their confidence. The brown-haired man assures him that regardless of Scar's intentions, the red-haired individual will ultimately remain loyal to their team. Tom descends from the cliff face, complaining of thirst and expressing his desire to swiftly conclude the game. The team assembles, ready to affix the remaining stickers onto the monstrous creature. With their task complete, they anticipate the end of this peculiar challenge and their return to the present. Suddenly, they're transported back in time, witnessing a scene where the game has already concluded. The heroes emerge from the room, victorious and weary. A group of individuals stands at the room's exit, their purpose and identities shrouded in mystery. It's almost certain that these are Joe's men. This isn't just a handful of individuals. It's a sizable contingent, likely everyone in Joe's employ. They appear to be waiting for our protagonist. One of the players questions Tom's decision to aid the newcomer, pointing out that his loyalty and efforts for Joe now seem wasted. The red-haired man remains silent, offering no reply to the accusation. His expression shifts visibly. A noticeable change washes over his face. A shadow of gloom descends upon his features as the players inquire if it's about Eugene, the green-haired man standing nearby, clearly under pressure. The green-haired man tenses up. Others suggest going to Joe together. The black-eyed man hesitates, uncertainty flickering in his eyes. But the protagonist, driven by curiosity, seeks to learn more about their enigmatic leader. Suddenly, the brown-haired man directs Evan to proceed first, dismissing him as merely a dispensable extra, there to bolster their numbers. The gray-haired man condescendingly refers to the gray-eyed man as a good boy, praising his obedience for simplifying their task. They deem the green-haired man unnecessary, granting him permission to depart as he pleases. Joe, it seems, also desires an audience with the red-haired man. His fate is sealed, he must accompany them. The protagonist and Tom find themselves surrounded. A sea of faces closing in. Trapped, there's no avenue for escape. Gray-eyed surmises that the leader's fury must be immeasurable. Consumed by grief upon learning of his brother's demise, the ominous symbol of the boxing ring reappears. A formidable challenge awaits our heroes. They're in for a brutal fight. The grizzled veteran urges the brown-haired man to act swiftly, commanding him to enter the room without a moment's hesitation. Tension grips the brown-haired man, his anxiety palpable. The atmosphere thickens with suspense, each tick of the clock amplifying the impending danger. A wave of nervousness washes over the red-haired man as well. Beads of cold sweat form on his brow as his gaze fixates on Eugene. Tom inquires about Joe's intentions, demanding to know what he wants. The enigmatic player simply extends an invitation, beckoning him inside. The allies find themselves within the confines of a boxing ring, a place the protagonist has never set foot in before. Without warning, Joe appears in a blur of motion, launching a ferocious attack at the red-haired man. The sheer force of the blow sends the scarred man flying backwards several meters, crashing against the side of the ring. The young man coughs up blood, his body racked with pain, writhing in agony from the brutal impact. Tom's face contorted in a mask of excruciating pain. Joe, mercilessly pressing his foot down onto Tom's head, grinds his heel into his face, desperate to survive the onslaught. Tom struggles against the agonizing pain and overwhelming pressure. He fights to remain conscious amidst the brutal assault. The red-eyed man, consumed by fury, explodes in rage at the young man's failure. His disappointment quickly morphs into uncontrolled anger. The task he entrusted to the youth was critical, the outcome vastly different from what he expected. Betrayal and incompetence fueled his incandescent wrath. Scar, filled with remorse, stammers out an apology, explaining that despite exhausting every possible effort, his attempts proved futile, yielding no success. He confesses his utter failure. Suddenly, as if conjured from thin air, a crate brimming with weapons materializes before them. The mysterious appearance of the arsenal leaves them speechless. Could this be Joe's personal armory? A secret cache of deadly instruments? The question hangs heavy in the air, but the dark-haired man simply scoffs, accusing them of blatant deception. He believes they are trying to fool him. He accuses them of trying to trick him, to hide the truth behind a veil of lies. He feels manipulated and betrayed, drawing his sword with a flourish. The brown-haired man's gaze fixes on his opponent's weapon, his eyes narrowing in recognition. A flicker of memory surfaces. He's seen a blade like that before, perhaps in a dimly lit shop, its sinister design leaving a lasting impression. He racks his brain trying to place its origin. With a thunderous roar, the leader vows that the red-haired man will pay dearly for his transgressions. His voice booms with the promise of retribution. As Tom witnesses the unfolding events, a wave of terror washes over him, leaving him paralyzed with fear. The sword's radiance is blinding, its intense glow illuminating even Tom's terrified face. The sheer power emanating from the weapon is palpable. Suddenly, with a deafening clang, the two blades collide, sparks flying as steel meets steel. Eugene's knife, bathed in an ethereal blue light, flashes into view, interposing itself between the combatants. The confrontation is imminent, but unlike Tom, the boy shows no fear of Joe, his countenance remaining remarkably composed. With a surprising calmness, he expertly parries Joe's furious blows, deflecting each strike with precision and unwavering resolve. His weapon moves with an almost preternatural grace. The dark-haired man poses a chilling question, inquiring whether the young man desires to follow in Tom's ill-fated footsteps. Unfazed by the threat, the protagonist continues to engage in light-hearted banter, all while fiercely defending his comrade. The brunette, with a sharp tongue, launches a series of sarcastic jabs at his elder brother, further escalating the already tense atmosphere. Fanning the flames of conflict, the red-eyed man, consumed by a furious rage, effortlessly parries the boy's knife attack with lightning-fast reflexes. He retaliates with a swift and brutal assault, aiming to wound the boy with his razor-sharp blade. But the boy's agility proves too much, as he nimbly evades the attack, fueling Joe's anger to an even greater intensity. Joe's frustration grows with each dodged attack, his fury mounting as the newcomer effortlessly sidesteps his every strike. Poised and ready, he prepares to unleash his next onslaught. With blinding speed, the dark-haired man maneuvers behind the main character, his movements so swift and fluid that the protagonist is left with no time to react. The brown-haired man, his eyes scanning the surroundings, wonders about the leader's whereabouts, fearing that he has vanished without a trace. Suddenly, a purple blade materializes dangerously close, threatening to strike him down. In a surprising turn of events, the skill reverses its effect on Eugene, causing his eyes to revert to their golden hue. One of the onlookers believes the young man has perished. Joe's unparalleled speed makes it impossible for anyone to outpace him. The redhead remains motionless, sprawled on the ground, covered in blood. He watches the unfolding events with anticipation. Gray Eyes matches Red Eye's velocity, keeping pace with his incredible speed. He deftly evades each of Red Eye's attacks with impressive agility. Joe finds it unbelievable that the boy has caught up to him. Such speed is unprecedented. No one has ever displayed this level of swiftness. Meanwhile, our protagonist reflects on the successful execution of his skill. Without it, he would have already met his demise. The two young men face each other, locked in a tense standoff. Eugene declares that the battle is about to commence. Red Eyes responds, outlining precisely how he intends to crush the boy. He boasts that his opponent will be unable to walk after their encounter. Following a brief exchange of heated words, an epic clash erupts, a truly spectacular display of skill and power. Neither combatant yields an inch, both determined to prevail. Their blades move in perfect synchronicity, a mesmerizing dance of death. Each fighter mirrors the other's movements with astonishing precision. The dark-haired man is left utterly astonished by Eugene's lightning-fast speed, a velocity that few can rival. His movements are so swift, they leave others struggling to keep pace, a testament to his exceptional agility. With a brutal swipe, the man attempts to cleave his opponent in two. However, his attack phases harmlessly through thin air. It was merely an illusory technique, a phantom strike. Our protagonist commands the enemy leader to freeze, issuing a stern order that brooks no disobedience. He presses a blade menacingly close to the leader's throat, the sharp edge a chilling reminder of the imminent danger. A palpable wave of fear washes over the leader, his nerves frayed by the precarious situation. The cold steel against his skin sends shivers down his spine.